Yes, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. or closer to 20 to 8 now. And it's time for the Spurs review. Today, we've been joined by a few regulars. Mr. Box Office is returning. The Danalist, Danny, Lubo. We're joined by Stelios. This is his first Spurs review, I think, of this new era. And we're joined, as we were all discussing backstage, by YouTube royalty. Marlon is in the house. Thanks, Marlon, for gracing us with your presence. Just kidding. Everybody, please go over and subscribe to Mr. Box Office, to Tottenham Away, to Hotspurhood, to the Danalist, and to Spurs Kings TV. All fantastic content creators, something different from everybody. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to Savva, this guy, this face. We've done, by the way, I'm not going to do the whole, is everyone okay? We've done it backstage. Everyone's all right. It's all good. We've got a lot to talk about tonight, guys. We've got to talk about comments that have come out. We're going to start with this. Comments that have come out in the last hour or two from Ornstein saying that Ange'S job is 100% safe. Talking about backing him with more signings. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Tottenham ending the weekend in 12th position in the league table. We're going to talk about Liverpool coming up in the Cup, the North London derby. And we're also going to talk about handballs. I think Lubo's very, very, very upset about certain handball decisions. So we'll need to get into that. Guys, I'm going to show you this. And oh, by the way, sorry. This is how bad, that's how bad I am as a host. Spurs have signed a player as well. We're going to talk about that. How bad of me in the transfer window. We've signed a goalkeeper. It's all very exciting, and it's going to change our tactics from top to bottom. Guys, I'm going to show you this. Anyone can then kick off. In the last hour or two, we've seen, first of all, this was sent to me. I'm not going to use people's YouTube as their X page handles, if possible. It says Ange'S Postecoglou's job is 100% safe at Tottenham. They are backing him to lead, and I'm going to get rid of this project. We're going to talk about that, the project forward. And then it was in a bit more detail. Tottenham want to do more business in January and would like to strengthen their defence and attack. Less so in the midfield, the engine room. The spine of the team. Some loans could be on the agenda, and there is also the possibility of some permanent deals like Antonin Kinski, if they can bring any forward. Don't get that. David Ornstein. Who would like to kick off, and what do we make of this? 100% staying, 100% project, and he's going to be backed with more deals. Who would like to start? What does this all mean?
I'll start, Sav. Unless you hear it from someone at the club who is directly quoted, or you see that they've passed a medical and there's a picture of them signing. Don't believe any of this rubbish that you're hearing. We've been through it. We hear this every single transfer window. They all come up with the biggest load of rubbish. The whole thing about Eze. Spurs never even approached Palace about Eze. I'm still seeing comments on the various podcasts that I'm on. We should have gone and bought Eze. We did. Why didn't we do this? It's all nonsense. Unless you hear it directly from the club, who would have thought this guy was coming to Spurs? They always throw someone in that you don't expect. Always. That's me.
Well, it's going to be a very quick show then, ladies and gentlemen. Ian says, don't believe any of it. We're not discussing it. Anyone else got any other views on that other than it's complete nonsense?
The thing is, Ian's bang on the money because we were saying this. Yep. And I know you want a different perspective, but the thing is, how can anyone give a different perspective when the facts are all the journalists, the Golds, the Ornsteins, the Athletics, the O'Keefe, who's an agent, and many channels that get these journalists on to do, transfer news show and all this, all of them just shilled misinformation. It was a lie. No Eze, no Neto, no Tony, Gallagher. They all ran with the Gallagher story. None of it was factual. No one said, "Oh, we're getting Archie Gray." You might have had a journalist once it was confirmed by the club that Archie Gray's have a medical. Spurs are after Archie Gray, yeah, because he's having a medical. It's fact. No one mentioned Archie Gray. No one mentioned Yang. No one mentioned Odegaard. These were all randoms that appeared out of nowhere. So a lot of what they do is they manipulate because it's an entertainment business, and Ange'S entertainment. Media's brought in Ange because it's entertainment. It's not about winning. It's not about success. These journalists just peddle whatever sells. Eyeballs gets an audience. An audience, it sells. It's clicks. It's likes. It's super chats. It monetizes. It's so on right now that you can't believe anything until the club actually makes a signing. Only at that point can we say this is real. Sometimes, there's rumours, heavy rumours, he's on his way to have a medical. Like we got a rumour yesterday that the goalkeeper we've signed, he's on his way to the club for a medical. So it's like, okay, we can believe this because they're all saying he's about to have a medical. Just like we were told Willian was having a medical at Spurs before he used us to go to Chelsea. But we were going to sign him. It was real. It just screwed it up. Chelsea put the deal. So I've got to agree with Ian. The lies that go on across the Spurs community and the journalists, it just misleads the fans, and it literally fools us into thinking things that aren't true about the club. And I agree with Ian on this one. So sorry, I don't have a counter view. I know you want one, but I can't give it.
Yeah, I mean, anyone else? Listen, I get it, right? And as a seasoned Spurs fan of age and wrinkles, I'm talking about myself. It's hard to believe all these things, but somebody else, it is true, right? When certain people relay information, the likes of Ornstein, people do sit up and listen, don't they? Yeah. Does anyone believe that this is true, what's coming out? And I'm not sure what to level, by the way. We don't know. Does that mean more Antonin Kinskis in terms of 21-year-olds from Europe that are unknown? Or does that mean we're actually going to go on back the manager? Anyone got a view on that?
I reckon... Go on, Alex.
I don't think they're back. I think they're backing the manager because they're doing the policy that they're doing, and I think that I see the director and Simon Davis. I don't know about Scott Munn because I don't think he's part of the football side in such forth. I think he's more the business side. But I do see him getting backed at the moment, and by me saying he's getting backed, he's not got sacked. But that's it for me, and that's why I've lessened talking about who, rather than and just more focused on the manager. So this is where my issue is at the moment. I do think he will see out the season. Because I don't think they've got a plan to get somebody else in. Because if it does go to a even worse level than it is now, I think the only thing that they're going to do is put an interim in charge, and who's going to be in charge. So this is my issue at the moment, and the thing that annoys me at the moment is that I watched 2 games today, and I watched 4 coaches that were coaching their team better than what I'm seeing from Ange, which is what I've been banging on about since March, because it doesn't take me this long to not like a manager. Now, I hear the argument the other side. I hear the argument the other side when you give me football opinion. I won't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all. I do see the other side of things. Well, I do listen to that. But like I say, when I see Fulham and I see Ipswich, especially Kieran McKenna, how he marshals that Ipswich side, which are a very young team, and I don't see it from Ange, that a team's just getting worse and worse and worse. That's where I have my issue. And this is where I think the club have got something to answer for right now. Because if we're seeing it, it's very worrying that they can't see it. That's my answer.
I agree. I mean, Dan, you wanted to come in there. I'll just go off the back of what Alex said there. I mean, Alex has got at it more from the point of 100% behind Ange for this project. Dan, I'm not going to insult you and ask you to tell me what this project is because nobody bloody knows. It's just a lovely word to hear. Do you believe, Dan, that this is a different Spurs direction? Because this isn't normal Levy-Enoch behaviour. And what I mean by that is no one ever does this bad and survives. This guy's surviving being the worst, and we're hearing noises he's being backed. Is it all media spin, or do you truly believe they are going to back this horse?
I think there's a 50-50 in it. I don't believe they're going to back him. Levy won't back nothing that don't suit him, basically. But the one thing Ange's done has protected Levy so much in every which way and took every bit of pressure off of Levy's back that he possibly could, and some, and put it on his own. Levy's got to be sitting there a happy man with that at the moment. And there's still plenty of fans, majority I'd say, that still want Ange in because they love the entertainment, and that's what Levy wants, entertainment. Do I think he's going to back him? Did he back him in the transfer window? I wouldn't have said that was backing a normal manager, but our manager claimed it about 3 times now. But
yeah.
I think we could see a good signing, and when I say signing, I mean like a on loan. I think we could see a good loan player come in. And then I don't see anything more than a couple of kids, basically. I reckon we could see a good loan.
Before I go to the Dan list, it's the problem of having 2 Dans on. Before I go to the Dan list, good loan players in terms of any ideas of names, or are you thinking more positions? What are you?
Well, the one that keeps coming up in a lot of places is what's his? How do I pronounce his name? Skriniar, PSG.
Skriniar.
He's meant to become Skriniar. He was a player that I really liked at Inter Milan. He's meant to be having big issues with the owner. So it just says on what I read, big issues in Paris Saint-Germain with the manager and the owners, and hasn't got long left on a contract from what I know of. I don't see why we couldn't go and get him on loan. Pay half his wages, they pay half the wages. Big player plays 6 months for Spurs, plays his contract out, whatever he's got left, and then goes and moves to a bigger club. Everybody's happy in that aspect.
Can I ask
something like that wouldn't surprise me.
Before I move to the other Dan, Danny, Skriniar, fantastic centre half. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask the obvious question: how's he going to cope in a high line, gung ho, kamikaze setup? Because he's not. I'm not saying he's slow, but Skriniar is not. He's more of a leader at the back, right? How's he going to get on?
How's any defender going to get on in that style, really? That can't run like Van der Ven. How is any defender getting on? Like I've said, go give us the best. Go give us Paolo Maldini, Nesta at the back. Go put Cafu on the other side. Go put Roberto Carlos on the other side. We're still going to concede a considerable amount of goals because we are so open at the back, no matter who you've got there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Danilist, what do you make? You've heard a lot so far. Where are you at with it all? Is 100%? They're 100% behind him, apparently. Are you 100% behind him and the project?
Well, first of all, evening, everyone. Big up to everyone in the chat. Yeah, that you started off with that, Savva. I mean, that's ruined my night. It's ruined my night.
Can we all cheer up a bit and get a bit more energy? Come on, guys. It's Sunday night.
I can't believe it. If there's any truth in it, you know, what is this? 100% behind Ange. Now I'll say, why? Why hasn't he gone? Why are they sticking with this? I mean, is this club doing something we've never, ever seen before just because they haven't done that before? Is that what's happening now? Yeah, back him. We're 8 points from the relegation zone, guys. And it looks like we're not going to win a game until the end of the month. And that's going to be 2 months then without a Premier League win. Seriously. I just don't know what to say.
So why are they? So Dan, answer me then. So why are they, in your opinion, if they are backing this manager,
Yeah.
Why? And I ask this to everybody, but the other way round. Normally I say to the Ange'S fans is, what have you seen? What is it that makes you go, yes, the tide is going to turn. I can see something. What have the club seen in this guy, Dan, to say this is where our next 3, 4, 500 million over the next 2 years or whatever is going to be spent with you?
I can't see anything. Nobody's improved. We've made no progression. We're closer to the bottom than the top. I don't understand what the club are seeing in Ange. They've clearly seen he doesn't adapt to win games, to get us results. There's nothing. I don't understand it at all. Can anybody in the chat or anybody on the panel see what is it? This is the worst we've been for such a long time. And I just shocked. I'm just shocked. I don't get it. I mean, what is it? I'm struggling, Savva. I'm sorry.
Dan, I'll tell you what it is.
Don't have to apologise to me, mate.
I'll tell you what it is. It's two things. First of all, Levy's is a reactionist. He's not proactive. The fans haven't revolted. The fans aren't booing at the end of games. They're clapping. The fans aren't chanting Levy out. The fans aren't chanting Ange out. There's no reaction. There's an overwhelming acceptance of this. Fans are accepting the situation. They're okay with it. So why would the club change anything? If the punters are prepared to pay their 80 quid to go and watch us lose to Newcastle, we'll come again. Don't worry. Liverpool midweek, we'll be there. Lose again, we'll be there at the next one. So if the customer is accepting, why would you rattle the business? And the second thing is, Mikel Arteta has poisoned football. He's told football, trust the process. It's okay to wait 5 years in hope that it lands. And then you get Arne Slot that comes along in 3 months and he's top of the league. You get Nuno at Wolves for 2 minutes. He's got Nottingham Forest in the top 4 race. You get Maresca at Chelsea. He's got them top 4 race. Took him 3 months. You got all these managers where they do things in a quicker pace of time. But what Levy's done is, trust the process. Yeah, but look at Klopp. It took him 5 years, but Klopp got to finals every year and in league titles. So people like Arteta have poisoned football and basically brainwashed fans into thinking, give up 5 years of your life in hope that it works. And that's what it is. It's a combination of trust the process and a combination of fans saying, we'll stick this out. Don't worry about it. And when you put that together as a board, why would you sack Ange? It's working.
Still, I'm surely, I get that, and I totally understand what you're saying, but it's results. It's about results, isn't it?
But they're making the money. That's the result. The money's there. That's the result.
I mean, I'm talking about the legal position.
But you're
what you're saying is what it should be. You're saying what it should be about. We're talking about Levy here.
Mate, go on most fan channels.
Different.
But what about why is Levy annoying the... Yeah,
most fan channels are Ange'S, Dan. They are. Yeah, but they defend it. You hear excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. You and I are the minority. We are a tiny minority that want to change. We think we're the big, with a bigger picture. We're not. We're actually a tiny fraction.
So you're saying that Levy's turning a blind eye to the actual league form?
He's done it for about 24 years, for God's sake.
No, but it's not this bad though, is it, Dan? It's not this bad.
No, he's never done this before.
This is the worst.
But the fans, listen, when Poch was losing, fans were booing. Fans switched. I was there. And I was getting angry with fellow fans for switching on Poch, who asked for a rebuild and never got it. Mourinho, it was toxic as you like. Do you remember Eric Dyer running off the pitch and attacking a fan in the stands when we went out to Norwich? It was chaos.
His family or something, wasn't it?
With Conte, it was the loudest Levy out chants and all sorts of Levy, Enoch, anti-voices. We've never heard or seen that before at that level. With Ange, there's nothing. The protests, one protest we've had. Wow. There's no boycott. There's no chanting Levy out in the stadium. And we've got this happy song. I don't like you, Levy, because I like coolers. F-ski did it. It's like a circus, man. It's completely different.
Can I just say, when I get people saying to me, "Oh, you should have been there, Savva," they were singing Levy out, and I was like, "Okay, well, what was it?" And it was the Levy Kulu song, and I'm thinking it's not the most powerful of messages. It's more of a Kulu, and like do you know what I mean? It's not really a hard hitting get out, is it? It's more of a. It's more of a.
Sav, instead of Kulusevski, it should have been THFC. Then it would have meant a lot more. Agreed.
The fact that Kulu's name's in there kind of waters it down. But listen, I want to ask YouTube royalty. That's how you're going to be known now. Marlon gets invited on all the big channels. He speaks to all the big journalists. Us little YouTubers.
Go on, Marlon.
We're all out here grinding, and he's just gone straight to the front of the queue. He's like Philip Schofield at the Queen's funeral, straight to the front.
Easy. Can't say that name.
Why can't I be?
That put a few smiles on faces for everybody. Right, Marlon.
Schofield, man.
Marlon, I'm only joking. Because wasn't it? I'm just joking. But was it Philip Schofield and Holly Willoughby? Did they?
Yeah, they stuck to the front.
Yeah, they snuck to the front. There's like millions of people queuing for this, and they just went, "Yeah, we're famous here." Anyway,
Marlon's Gary Lineker. He's Gary Lineker.
Oh, Marlon, you've not come on for ages because you're busy with big channels, but now you're here. Let me get an understanding. Where are you? On a serious note, mate? Where are you with all this? Because you're always a little bit more. You know, I would say people like me and Stella are probably a bit more passionate and must have box office. You're a bit more placid and level-headed with all this. It's been a shit show, Marlon, whichever way we spin it.
Yeah.
So where are you in terms of Ange? Is this the guy? And if he is, can you please tell me, Marlon, the millionth person I've asked, what is the project?
Look, so where I sit at the moment is until he's out of all cups, that is when I become Ange out. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I was one of those people, and I think I said this to Stel, I was one of those people that said, I don't care about the league position. I want a cup. Yes, I can see every single issue that there is. I can see it. I'm not blind. I'm not stupid. However, I need to give him the time. I'm giving him the time because he has told me he gets stuff done in his second season. So I'm gonna let him have it. I'm not basing it on nothing. I've just got to let him have it because if you bring in another new manager now, at the end of the day, I don't think we'll win the cups, but I don't think that any new manager coming in now will win the cups. So
why? Because
I've always said there's no manager out there now, I certainly believe this, that will win a cup under this ownership. Full stop. Period. Full stop. And
with this set of players, maybe.
No, even with it doesn't matter which players we get in because we've seen it.
The players that we got, Marlon. The players we
Mourinho got to a final.
Wasn't given a chance.
Yeah, but
we'll never know.
You said under this ownership.
Yeah,
under this ownership,
but under this ownership, he got to the final and never got his chance. He never got to that final.
Yeah, no, you make a good point.
So,
can I ask you a question then, Marlon?
Yeah, go on.
Off my back, what you said.
Yep.
Respectfully, I'm asking a question. Yeah. If you're saying no one can win a trophy with these players, what difference does it make then in keeping this manager till we're out of all cups? Wouldn't you want a better manager to come in that can now start trying to get us up the league table?
Because personally, I don't think we'll get a better manager because of the way this club is run and the way they pick managers. Because I hear all the names. Don't get me wrong.
Is there a worse manager than Ange Postecoglou out there? There's my question.
I would probably say Graham Potter for me.
No.
You think Graham Potter's worse than Ange Postecoglou?
Yeah, I do.
Never in a million years.
And Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, Gareth
Southgate.
Hang on,
okay, but why is Graham Potter a work for me? Graham Potter, by the way, I'm not going to die on a hill for Graham Potter right? But at least Graham Potter,
he's better than Ange.
He's a coach.
But you say that, but look, I look at what Brighton have done since Graham Potter, and I see the job that Poch done at Chelsea after Graham Potter, and to me, that's. What has Graham Potter actually achieved, right? Because Brighton fans were booing him at one point, and everyone was like, why are the Brighton fans booing Potter, right? When they should be glad where they are. They went and got De Zerbi, they went and got this new guy, Hertzler, and they were right to be booing Potter when they did. Chelsea, they've moved on. They've definitely done a lot better.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he did a bad job. I mean, he took Brighton and he put them on the map, right?
Okay. Chelsea.
The manager before the manager, right?
Yeah, but Chelsea. Let's take Chelsea then. Did he change anything there?
Mate, Chelsea. He went to Chelsea. They were absolute shit show.
But Poch went there and sorted it in the end, where Maresca's now picked that up, has he not?
All right, Marlon, let me put it a different way for you then, yeah? If we got a manager in on the same level as Ange, yeah, because we ain't going to get no better. But if he's decided not to play, basically play with two centre-backs and not use inverted wing-backs and not use his centre-backs on the halfway line, do you think he would get better results?
Probably, yes. Yeah, he probably would.
Then we might as well get rid of Ange and get another manager of the same quality.
Yeah, but who's that manager going to be?
Then we've got more chance of winning. No, hang on. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Who's that going to be?
And then we've got, because if we get a manager of the same quality, whoever it's going to be, and say he gets us 25% more points, which I think Ange could get if he didn't invert and he didn't have his centre back so high up. Yeah, that means we'd be higher up the table and we'd stand higher chances of winning a cup.
But it depends on, you're saying the same level, but right now, which same level managers are coming to Spurs?
Marlon, why can't we get better than Ange? Sorry, I don't understand this. Why can't we get better than Ange?
Because I see it like this. How we've ended up with Ange in the first place. What you guys are asking me to do, right? And this is the bit I can't get behind. You're asking me to trust the board and everybody to go and get a manager that's going to be better than Ange. And I don't think they will. I think all the names that everyone's putting, everyone is putting names out. Yes, I'd like Areola. Yes, I'd like... This club is not going to do that for you, because we'll be sitting here in about 18 months' time again, going through the exact same thing. And
in that case,
can I come back on that though, Marlon?
Yeah, you can.
I agree. Thank you. I agree. Right. Listen. I think everybody here shares the same concerns about the board and about their decision making. But for the sake of fairness, for the sake of playing devil's advocate, this same board gave us Pochettino. This same board gave us Harry Redknapp. This same board.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I do agree with you on this.
They've had Ange is possibly, Ange, I'm going to say it, I don't care anymore. Ange is the worst manager they've ever hired, right? Ange, statistically, for me, is the worst manager they've ever hired. I fail to believe that Spurs can go and get anyone with as much tactical, I want to say ineptness, but I know that's not a word, that is as tactically inept as my mate Lubo said on some YouTube channel the other day that he was filmed on, right? Marlon, surely if you bring in a manager with just 10% better tactical ability, we're not wide open and conceding the way we do, right?
However, if anybody had seen Ange at Celtic, if the club had done their whole homework, none of this should be a surprise to anybody of what's going on, because he did exactly the same at other clubs. Now,
correct,
right? So when everyone's going, "Oh, he's not doing this," he did it at Celtic. I remember a game against, at the end of the day, I watched Celtic when he was there, because Celtic are kind of my Scottish team, so I always picked up games here and there. So everything I'm seeing now is completely what I saw at Celtic, but against worse opposition. So the problem is,
Marlon,
but wouldn't you think he'd adapt? And I would think that he's intelligent enough to say.
I think you're missing a big point there.
He's not.
We could go to Celtic and manage Celtic and make them bloody win. It is the Scottish League is that poor. It is rated lower than the MLS.
You're missing the point. You're missing the point.
At one stage at Celtic, he had about 6 players out with hamstring injuries and still walked through that league because it was
But which club still went and employed him after that?
Tottenham.
Yeah, us.
Look, the board have made a mistake.
I think we're forgetting one man here.
Put it right.
I think we're forgetting one man here, Scott Munn. The skitting Scott Munn here, because I think he had a major influence on him by getting him in. That's the thing.
He brought him in. It was his choice.
That's the thing, and I think that's why they're sticking with him as much as what we
as
don't
much
want,
as possible.
And
this is I'm not.
And I think Marlon, don't get used to this, Marlon. Like I said, don't get used to this. I actually see your point, because you have been consistent. Because I was getting annoyed with Stelios on your show on Tuesday night, because you were saying the same point. And I actually have to vouch for you on this one. Yeah, I see your point about him staying for the cups as well. To be honest with you,
why?
And also,
Why?
is that I do not trust the board to make a decision, because I think if they sack Ange, by worst case scenario, Mason's on speed dial. Unfortunately,
Mason's better than Ange.
I'd rather have Mason than Ange.
Statistically, he's better.
Yeah, possibly could be. But the one thing
not forever.
No, Marlon,
not
he actually
forever.
is. He actually is.
I'm talking about I meant if someone went, oh, we've got 15 games left, cool, give it to Mason. I don't mean, yes, Ryan Mason signed on a 5-year deal, because then I well and truly would be in the mud. But the problem is with all of this for me, guys, and we won't talk about Ange all night, but the problem with all of this, first of all, my problem is there's 815 people in here and not even 200 likes. So we're not even at a quarter of likes.
Like it.
to views. No, please don't. You're in the wrong channel to ask that, mate. You're in the wrong channel to ask that.
No, they're all covered now.
Also, please keep subscribing. We're closing in very quickly on 15.5K after only just getting to 15K last week. Please do keep subscribing. For anyone that cares, the big derby in Italy tonight, it is Roma 2, Lazio 0. Roma, a club that sacked their manager, and suddenly they're playing well again. Suddenly they're winning games again.
Savva.
Hang on 1 second still. I just want to... My key thing here is this. Are we really going to say that we're just going to keep managers that are terrible purely because we don't trust the board to get in someone better than our worst statistical manager for 27 years? Is that where we're at?
Well, all I'm going to say is
that we're not going to change, right?
All I will say is this:
Marlon.
Manchester United this season gave Ten Hag a contract. Right, they were doing that badly that they went behind the scenes to go and get Amorim, and he was in. He could have been in earlier, but he was in November. Right, I don't think, unfortunately, right, because I think they're so sold on this whole thing with Ange, I don't think they're doing it. Even though, and I'll give Stelios credit, Simon Davis said to him that Ange is not the be-all and end-all. We should be looking at the blueprint of, if he's not doing well, we've got other managers in place that can do the same thing that Ange Postecoglou is doing at the moment. But
not what I said.
I don't see it. I don't see it, Savva. I don't see it. That's the problem at the moment. I don't see it.
Alex, Simon Davies didn't say that. I just want to clarify.
Fair enough then. Fair enough.
What he said was that the next manager after Ange will be of a similar mould to suit what the academy is teaching, because the academy philosophy now under Simon Davies is similar to the first team, although Ange plays it with a twist. The academy don't play with inverted fullbacks the way Ange does. So there's a little twist, but you were half right, Alex.
Sorry if I was
missing. Can I jump in here, Sav?
Mate, just jump in.
Okay.
Did you ever see me being polite, Ian? Just jump in, mate.
Hey, Savva, get the super chat up as well. Scott M's killed me.
Okay. Couple of things.
I'll let Ian go. We'll do some super chats. And like the bloody show, you tight Levy wannabes in the chat. Go on, Ian.
Well, firstly, we got two superstars in the panel, because Alex has been on global TV. I just wanted to say, Sky, Fox News International. Secondly, if Spurs reach all three finals this season, I know highly unlikely. You probably get 1,000,000 to 1 with the bookies. But there is a potential for 38 games. It's not 15, Sav. And if we go deep in the FA Cup and we go deep in the Europa, we're looking at 30 games between now and the end of the season. And the last point I want to make. Hang on. The last point I want to make is that Tottenham. The problem Levy has now is that it is a managerial CV graveyard coming to Spurs. And the problem he's got now is because obviously, yes, it is. For sure.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Oh, it is.
No, it's not. How?
All right, I'll give you a reason
tell me
why it's
how
not.
I'm going to refute it. Go on.
Okay, well, listen. You talk about facts, Sav. The facts speak for themselves.
Go for it. Go on.
Facts speak for themselves. On one point, Levy might be thinking, and one of the guys here mentioned it before. Four best managers we've had possibly were all at the club. Best five managers: Nicholson, Birkinshaw, Redknapp, Venables, Poch were all at the club for at least a minimum of 4 years.
Yep.
Okay, so, and the best managers that we've had in the last 30 years: Ferguson, Wenger, Klopp, Pep, probably Slot now, he's probably going to be at Liverpool for the next few years, are all there for a long period of time. So Levy is screwed one way or the other, because if he gets rid of Ange, I don't believe there are going to be any top managers that are going to want to come to Spurs. They're going to see what happens to Conte and Mourinho, and they're going to think, do you know what? If those guys can't make it work, and they don't get the backing, but one thing we must never forget is a leopard doesn't change its spots. And if Spurs lose the next few games and we're 15th or 16th, then Levy is going to pull the trigger. No question about it.
He's always done it.
He cannot afford to get relegated or even consider the thought of being relegated. It smashes his complete business model.
I agree. So let me just come.
Ian.
Sorry, Dan, give me 1 second. For what you said there, Ian, first and foremost, right? I feel like as a fan base, when we ever talk about this, who's going to come in and win things, I feel like we're conflating two different arguments. First of all, the first argument shouldn't be who can come in and win things. The first argument should be who can come in, not have us bottom half of the table, and that can actually manage and has tactics in games. Surely that should be the benchmark of any manager who can come in and make us look like a competent football team. Surely that has got to be first before we worry about which top manager comes in and win trophies.
For sure.
If we're gonna talk about does Levy change and suddenly back a new manager to the level where we win leagues and Champions Leagues, I'm all over that with you guys. No, that's not going to happen. But Harry Redknapp under this chairman, Harry Redknapp, brilliant coach, brilliant man-to-man manager. Look how good the team was. Right, Martin Jol, look where we were when he picked us up and when he left us. Pot, look where we were when he picked us up and look when he left us, right? These guys managed to do a good job still under this really poor ownership because of their ability management-wise. The problem you've got is Ange knows one way of playing football, right? Now, I'm going to give a couple of reasons, right? A couple of examples. Both from today's have all of you watched today's Super Sunday games, right? Fulham versus Ipswich and then Man United v Liverpool, right? First and foremost, look how Ipswich are set up as a team, right? They've gone to a team that are in form in Fulham, right? They've got 3 at the back, 2 wing backs that cause problems. They're hard to break down through the middle, yeah? And I thought they put in a really good display and were a few minutes away from winning, right? Ange can't do that. Ange cannot adapt to do that. And then Man United, who are in dreadful form, right, go to Anfield, the best team in probably Europe right now. And I thought Ruben Amorim's tactics were spot on. They played 3 at the back like he normally does. But I don't know if anyone noticed this during the game. When they were out of possession, that 3, more than any other game I've seen of Man U, turned into a back 5. Dalot and Mazraoui dropped so deep to make it a 5. Diaz, Gakpo and Salah didn't have the usual space they do. Liverpool came to White Hart Lane, I'll always call it that, and we went, there's the red carpet, just run through our back 4. Don't worry, we're not going to do anything to try and counter you. And Man United, who are shambles, showed today that their manager can come up with a plan to nullify a team that are in form, right? And I thought Man United actually deserved the win today, if we're going to be honest, but that's a different story, right? That's 2 examples from one day. So when people are saying it doesn't matter which manager we get in, it absolutely matters which manager you have. And your other point of managerial graveyard, really, off the back of recent managers, Pochettino left Tottenham and got jobs at Paris Saint-Germain and Chelsea. So his career didn't do any harm by coming to Tottenham Hotspur. Antonio Conte is now, if I'm not wrong, top of the Italian league or second or whatever they are in for Napoli. That's his first
Conte
job.
Conte was on a different level before he came to Spurs.
But
we're talking about up and coming managers.
No.
We're talking about decent managers who are going to come to Spurs, who will look at a job and they'll think, yes, okay, let's pull them. You know, you're not going to get a manager who's going to say, I'm going to go to a club to stabilise them. I want to go to a club and win things because these guys are ambitious.
That's not true. That's not true, Ian. First,
you don't think so? You don't think managers like players want to win trophies, sir?
I'm not saying they don't, but the thing is, you've got to remember, football managers are also like players and like us. Football managers have their sights set on bigger, better, right? And I used this example, I think yesterday or whenever with Stell. Actually, it might not have been you, Stell. I'm not sure. But my example was, if Tottenham went to Iriola of Bournemouth, Frank of Brentford, good coaches, right? Good coaches, honest, hard-working managers, tactically astute. And I believe that Iriola's on £1 million a year at Bournemouth. And I fail to believe that Thomas Frank is on a massive wage. I don't know if anyone can find out how much he's on. If Tottenham go to Iriola's agent or Frank's agent and say, we're interested in you, I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how well those clubs are doing at the moment. They are going to look at the infrastructure of our club. They're going to look at the training ground. They're going to look at the stadium. They're going to look at the 5, 6, 7, 8 million pound salary that we will put on top of them and say, you know what? My head is turned. Tottenham are, whether we're pissed off as fans or not, Tottenham are a much bigger club than Brentford and Bournemouth, and they will join Tottenham Hotspur. It's only us as fans that don't think these people are going to join us. They will join us.
Do you think that Spurs will pay the compensation though for both clubs?
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, of course they would.
It depends.
Is your proof? If we're in that much trouble, and we really are, Levy will put it down for a manager. He did it with Conte. Yeah, he will put the money down for a manager.
It depends on how much trouble we're in. Right now, he won't see us as in much trouble because we're still in.
He will.
Marlon, he knows we're in trouble.
Yeah. Can I put my take on this?
Yeah. Go for it.
For me, what the board is doing now is they're doing their calculations. What's the cost of keeping Ange, backing him in January, and seeing hopefully if that gets us back into a place of European pedigree, whether it's winning the Europa or finishing top 6, so that they can financially justify it, compared to what's the cost of sacking Ange, paying a new manager, maybe going to get them out their contract and a salary to come to Spurs, and what they think he could maybe achieve in terms of, can you get us back into that top 6? They'll be doing that. They'll be doing those calculations and predicting what is financially the best route for us here. And that's why Ange is still here, because so far some say keep Ange. However, I'm adamant on this. The fans haven't turned. That's why he's still here.
Yep.
The business still works because the customers are paying. But, and this is where I agree with Ian, lose to Arsenal in the North London derby, get knocked out of the Carabao Cup and lose to Everton away, the fans will turn. You saw it against Newcastle. There's quite a few empty seats. That's customers saying, we're not paying no more. That's the beginning. This is what happened at Arsenal when half the stadium was empty the day before Wenger got signed. There was that game where it was, only about 30,000 Arsenal fans turned up or something. Fans will slowly stop going because I'm not watching this. I'm paying a lot of money. Listen, I sold my ticket for £81. Someone paid me £81. That was the exchange price to go and watch us lose, plus their travel money, plus their food and drink. People aren't going to do that no more. So for me...
Still, you show when a Newcastle fan.
Do you know what I mean?
No, because if you saw the first goal, did anybody see the woman jumping up and down when Newcastle had scored? I bet no one's seen it.
Maybe it's her. No. Maybe she paid for it. but I believe. Listen, you never know. I honestly believe there's a lot. I said a lot of fans are in the Ange'S camp, but I think a large section of that lot are on the tightrope. They're on the brink. Give them enough rope, I do feel I said if he loses to Nottingham Forest and he loses to Wolves, he'll be gone. We drew with Wolves. The next 2-3 games for me, if he doesn't get a win, forget Tamworth. If he doesn't beat Liverpool, Arsenal, Everton, if he doesn't beat at least one, he's gone. Levy will pull the plug because the financials now. Listen, Crystal Palace are 3 points off of us. You drop below them, and suddenly to get back into Europe's 15 points and relegation is 6 points, he'll be gone because the maths doesn't add up anymore. The financials don't stack up. He'll be gone. I don't believe
I agree with you. I think if he gets smashed by Arsenal, game over. That's everybody done, because getting smashed at North London derby and seeing the results that we have seen previously, because I think Stell's right. It's the stadium at the moment. The fans, all of us on YouTube and stuff and social media are the ones that are kind of showing the big voices being Ange'S. But actually, when you look at it, and I said this way before, like years ago when Stell was saying it, it's always about the fans at the stadium, whether a manager is always going to be going in or out. And it's the same goes with if they turn against Levy. Like you said, the song, it's too happy. Like no one really cares about it. So what you end up having is, until the fans turn at the stadium, that is when Ange will go. And at this present moment, the fans at the stadium haven't turned on Ange. From what we've seen on, and when I say that, they're still singing songs for him. No matter no matter what other people think,
some
they're
people
singing songs for him. It's not when they're not there yet. The whole stadium was gone.
Marlon, they haven't sung his name the last couple of games. And if the away fans turn, and it'll be them that turn first, because they've
already turned, Ian. They've already turned. But they're the minority. It was when
a little bit. But if we get hit for 5 at the Emirates, there will be murders that night.
I don't think
most of them will walk out. They'll walk out the ground if that happens.
I think people are underestimating the Liverpool game, because I've got a feeling that, because after watching today, if we're smart, like, there is an opportunity there. And listen, I don't. You know my feelings on Ange.
We're not going to adapt, Alex.
No, listen. You know my feelings on Ange. You know my feelings on Ange. Right. So I'm not saying this lightly, right? But today, right? Maybe because Amarin's had a week to train with them, right? If Tottenham are not watching that right now, there were holes in that Liverpool defense, right? That if a gun-ho Tottenham would try and exploit. Now, I'm not saying that because I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to have Timo Werner there, I mean, it's game over as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? You know, below average Shane Long.
Surely, Alex. Surely the biggest thing that Spurs should have learnt from watching that game today is if you defend properly and set up tactically astutely, you don't allow Liverpool to have, what did they have against us? 25 shots and scored 6 goals or whatever it was. We literally opened the back door and said, please come in. Please come in, steal my television, sleep with my wife, do what you've got to do. Man United went, nah, we're not. Like, Man United, I thought today was superb at the back.
Oh, yeah.
Harry Maguire, everything that went in that box, out. Martinez, best I've seen him play all season. De Ligt, I thought was a bit unlucky with the penalty, but Mazraoui, Dalot tucking in. If Ange is not watching that and going, that is what you do to counteract Liverpool's fast free forwards, then beggars belief. But what he'll do, he'll go wide open, and then our fans will go, yeah, but we're proud. We're proud because we went out swinging.
If he would just sort out this defence, and it's something I've been saying a long time, I'll make a call on that. If he could manage a game better, know when to shut up shop, know when the players need to slow down for a bit, just take control of the game. Or if you can't, just take what you got. Because we have not got a bad defence there, not at all. I reckon that if he knew half how to defend, we would have only lost half the amount of games we've had and probably be about 12 points better off.
The problem is, Dan, he's not listening to anybody at the moment.
No, I know that. That is what I'm saying, Alex. Now, if we haven't lost half those games and we've got an extra 12 points, which I think we could have easily had, if this manager had a Scooby-Doo on how to defend, what would an extra... Let's go on then. I'll go 10 points. Where would an extra 10 points take us right now?
we'd be level with Man City. I'll tell you what, Dan, because I love you so much, how about I do this for you? Would this help? It's almost like it's ready to go. There we go, Dan. Does that help you?
If I can see it. Right. So we're on 24 points. That puts us on 34. And on goal difference, that puts us on 5th place. I personally think if this man had a clue how to defend, we'd have an extra 10 points minimum. Because there's easily 5 or 6 games there that we could have won or at least got a point out of, and it came down to his dickhead tactics. Ryan Mason against Liverpool would at least know, right, I'm going to have to play with 4 at the back here that are not inverted, or even maybe even use like 5 at the back when it's coming at us, whatever. He would know, do not invert both of them at the same time. And this is Ryan Mason. Why do I say that? Well, because the other games I've seen him play, he's never played inverted. And surely he's sitting there and he's going to realise, like, well, that was a big part of the problem. I'm not going to do that. I personally think Ryan Mason would get better points out of us. Why? Simply because he wouldn't invert both wing backs.
Go back to basics.
So, can I just piggyback on
what you're saying? Take us further.
His simplicity his lack of experience would almost count for him that he wouldn't try and reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. Where we would have been using 2 inverted wing backs and pushing up to the halfway line, I think we wouldn't concede half the amount of goals we do. I mean, our goal difference is great, fine, but it's exactly the same as it was last season. So whether we've scored more and conceded less, that's irrelevant to me. It's the same as it was last season.
Do you think
that we would be better off?
But I don't think it's just about that. I think it's just control, Dan. I think it's just control, because I look at Fulham's midfield and I look at Lukic in that midfield and what is his name? Sanderberg, and then Smith-Rowe. I think Smith-Rowe, and I think it was Pereira in the midfield. They were 1-0 down to Ipswich, and it was just very controlled. You know what I mean? Yes, you had Silva getting very, very, very animated because the decisions that were against him, and they did lose a goal straight away from to get a penalty. Ipswich got a penalty, but the thing that I liked about it was just really controlled, and you've got someone like a Robertson.
It was organised,
yeah, and it was just very simplistic. And then you had everyone knowing their job in that sense. And then when they brought players on, you could see that they were just, they were adding to it. You see, and I don't see that with Tottenham at the moment. You see, and that it's
in every game without fail. We are even getting dominated down the left, dominated down the right. No, it's not going over the top as much as it did, but it still happens, but not as much as last season. But the first thing any team comes to us and does is say, right, go for Porro and whoever we got on the right, whether it's a dodgy, whether it's Spence, whatever, go for them two. Because one of them two, without fail, will be diverted in the middle while the other one is coming up to it as well to try and both get a number 10. Time and time again. Every game you see it, we get dominated on either both sides or one of the sides. And sooner or later, a goal comes out of it. Every game. If this idiot would just say invert, because when they relate him to Pep, it's almost comical. Yeah, but Pep done it. Yeah, but use your brain. Pep also used a DM at the same time. And when one inverted, he pulled it to 3 at the back, for God's sake.
What did Pep say recently? I
need to adapt.
The best manager of this era.
And I know people give you stick on the side of, you're just an armchair. What would you know? Well, then what would you know? To call me that, you're irrelevant as well. So at the end of the day, if I can see this, who done my bloody coaching badges 20 years ago on bloody paper for like that, how long ago I did mine. If I can sit here and spot this, if any one of us can sit here and spot this, how can't this manager spot this? Or is he just that stubborn that he refuses to step down and he might as well try and cut his own head off? It is as simple as that. Stop the inverted crap. He hasn't got to change his whole system with it, and we could still push up without inverting, just not to the halfway line. Then we've got half our problems on the sides solved because we've actually got fullbacks or wing backs. We'd either on one side have someone putting in a lot more crosses because he'd be overlapping, and there'd be a lot more organisation, like Alex says, to the team. To me, it is so simple. that is why it is annoying.
And then
people.
Can I just do some super chats? Can I do some super chats really quickly, guys? Sorry, really, really quickly. And by the way, guys, come on. Listen, there's 920 of you in the chat and only 300 likes. This is should be the first thing you do. For YouTubers, likes are like currency, but they're free. And thank you to the people that have subscribed. And please subscribe to all my guests, Spurs Kings TV, Mr. Box Office, the Danalist, Hotspur Hood, Tottenham Away. Please subscribe to everyone. It really does help. And for 920 of you in here, I should be getting about 30 to 40 subs tonight, you tight people. Super chats. Ethan Bates, thank you very much. Always very generous. Ethan has said, Ange has complained about our lack of defensive options. So we sign a keeper and a forward is apparently next. Priorities are backwards. Ange should be apoplectic, good word, if defensive options were paramount. I mean, look, I agree with you, Ethan. I guess the difference is we'll wait and see how long until a defender does come in. But what I want to see, Ethan, and I'll ask the panel this after I've done the super chats, is I don't just want to bring people in that come and sit on a bench. I think we've got to be bringing people in that Ange is going to play. Otherwise, you bring these players in, when Van de Ven and Romero are fit, he never gives any of them a game, and we're right back to where we were before, where he doesn't rotate, and then we wonder why players get injured. But big up to you, completely agree. Fifth Elemento has said, because Ange is too, I'm going to suggest that word means poppy, to stand up to Levy and Enoch. Yes, I can't imagine he would in any way, shape or form. Thank you very much, Elemento. Really appreciate that. Jordan has said, hi, guys. Watch West Ham sack one Lopetegui. I always get this guy's name wrong. Lopetegui?
Lopetegui.
Lopetegui. That's it. I always get it wrong. Lopetegui before we sack Ange. And Lopetegui hasn't even been given the time and money at West Ham as Ange has at Spurs. The standard at Spurs are absolutely tragic. Never a truer sentence said this season. Completely agree with you.
Can I just counter it? The West Ham fans will turn on Lopetegui quicker at the stadium than we will turn on Ange. That'll be the difference.
I agree with that.
You know this hype around Ange that a lot of people give him. He always wins a trophy in his second season. Do you know a lot of people overlook the truth with Ange? He failed to win anything at Melbourne Victory. Like, he won nothing there. He then became the manager of Australia when Gus Hiddink had taken them, elevated them to a new level. He inherited that Australia. And then the trophy he won with Australia, when Ange took over, they changed the rules. So the qualifying rules were you had to play teams from Asia, and you also then, in the last phase, played a team from South America. All of that got scrapped when Ange came in. He couldn't have had an easier path. So when you look at his actual history, what did you do with Melbourne Victory? Nothing. What did you do with the Australian team? You inherited Gus Hiddink's work, and you had an easier pathway than what anyone ever had before. You went to Celtic, you had the best players, the most money spent in the easiest league. When you actually deep it, there's so much overhype. I don't know who keeps pinging, but I feel like someone's slamming something really loud in my ear.
Yeah, it's really loud. Whoever's got their phone
on. Ian. It's probably Ian. He's always got that MSN notification thing. So when you deep it, you say to yourself, well, what have you done to proven you're at a level to be at Spurs? And then when you look at Spurs under Ange and some of the tactical naivety, you realise, actually, you haven't proven anything. And he's learning on the job. At his age, he's learning on the job at Spurs. What are we doing here? You saw Amorim today. He knew if he went into a shootout with Liverpool, he's getting battered. We shoot, you shoot. We shoot, you shoot, which is what we did to Liverpool. Look what happened.
Yeah.
So he played deep, didn't allow them space behind, squeezed the game, made it compact, almost got a win at Anfield. And let's be honest, if Maguire wasn't shit, he would have scored the winner in the last minute, smashed it over the bar. So you look at that and you think, Ange would never do that. He will never, ever go to Anfield and do that. You look at Silva. Fulham are quite an attacking team. Arsenal came to them. They realised, you know what, this is going to be difficult. He changed it up, got a draw against Arsenal. This is the difference with us and everyone else. People that say he shouldn't have to adapt, they talk out of their backside. It's absolute fraudulence of the highest level. And to say he always wins trophies, no, don't. No, don't. And look at the pathway to some of these trophies he has won. I think he's an average manager who's been given the golden ticket. And if we back him, listen, I fear what's going to end up happening to Spurs. I don't understand what we're doing, but we're not going to back him. We're not going to back him with the players he needs, but he'll be backed in terms of he'll keep his job. But I stick by what I say. The next 3 games, if he fucks it up, he's gone.
Let me
what
just finish.
Arteta's done to us.
Can I do some? I just need to finish the super chats, Dan. I'll come to you next. Big up, Jordan. Thank you very much. By the way, just so people are aware, Lopetegui, that way, Lopetegui. Yeah. Lopetegui is the bookie's favourite to get sacked. Ange is the bookie's second favourite to be sacked. So make of that what you will. If West Ham act like a bigger club than us and sack their manager before we do, when they're 1 point, let me just double check this, when they are 1 point behind us after having the awful start they had to the season, then questions need to be asked about everything at Tottenham Hotspur. And the last super chat, everybody's favourite Scott M, who has said Marlon made more sense when he forced Haas to do all the post-game shows after Spurs losses. Marlon, would you like to say anything to Scott?
How comes I don't get a super chat on Spurs Kings TV? Why'd you have to give it to Savva?
All you've got to do is say Ange out and you'll get a super chat, mate. It's the trend. All you've got to do. Clickbait. Big up, Scott. Really appreciate that. Dan, I know you wanted to say something on that, and then I want us to move on to our brand new shiny toy, the goalkeeper.
The last thing I'll say is look at Arteta, what he done to us. When people go on about how we dominated that game in every which way, bollocks. He came to Tottenham and totally changed his system into an out-and-out defence. Nobody can tell me Arsenal play out-and-out defence. Yes, they use their defence where they're needed. Sometimes they play counter. Sometimes they go full-on attack. Why? Because he adapts to his games. Yeah, we may have had it all over them, this and that. But at the end of the day, we played right into the palm of their hand where they just waited. Because they knew they could handle what we had. And they knew they would catch us on a counter, or they would catch us on a dead ball situation. We played straight into the palm of their hands. He totally adapted his whole style of play just to play Spurs because he knew how to do it. A manager needs to adapt game by game. He doesn't have to change his whole system all the time. When a manager's good enough to do it, brilliant. But there's certain times you've got to look at, say, the left wing and say, right, we got to double up on that man. Or there's certain times where you've got 2 strikers coming at you like a Galatasaray, and you say, okay, 2 at the back ain't good enough for that. Nope, not Ange.
Yeah,
and he gets away with it.
We're going to talk about our new goalkeeper. By the way, Brian, I always find this is quite a funny comment, because when people say, how would Bournemouth, Fulham and Forest be doing if they had to play twice a week? My issue with this is, if you actually look at the lineups we've put out in the Europa games, though, barring Roma, we've been making 7-8 changes a game. So all this nonsense that it's the same players playing 2-3 times a week, it's not. If you look at what we fielded at Galatasaray, what we fielded against AZ Alkmaar, yeah, there's a sprinkling of some of the first team in there, but it's not all been the first 11. The question I'd say, Brian, is that would apply more to Aston Villa, Arsenal, the teams that are in the Champions League that have to play their best 11 for Champions League football. That applies to them. But for me, I feel like this is really disingenuous, and we're making out like we've put out our strongest 11 in the League Cup. In the League Cup game against Coventry, against Karabag, against AZ Alkmaar, Galatasaray. Right, we didn't. So I'm sorry. I feel like, and all I would say, Brian, is we knew this, Brian. When fans were all celebrating the summer, right? Is someone typing, by the way? Sorry,
yeah,
just sorry. If you are, just mute.
I forgot to press mute. I usually do.
Brian, I would say this, right? I completely lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Twice a week, something like that. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, I think not the Forest and thing don't play twice a week.
Yeah, what I would say is we knew we were going into this season playing twice a week. Yet all our fans praised. Do you remember in the window, guys? Everyone said, well, the incomings aren't brilliant, but look at all the deadwood that went. And I remember saying, they can't all go. You can't just have one window where all the Skips, the Højbjergs, the Hills, the whoever else, they can't all go in one window. But everyone said it's amazing. Well,
Savva,
now
can I just quickly add to this as well, Brian?
Yeah, go for it.
How would Bournemouth, Fulham, Forest be doing if they were giving their manager £350 million to spend on 14 new players?
Bang on. By the way, Bournemouth, God, I'm talking about Bournemouth so much the last couple of days. Bournemouth have had only one less injury than we've had all season, right? So Bournemouth have been doing it with first-team players injured as well, and they're 9 points clear of us. Let that sink in, everyone. Bournemouth are 9 points clear of us, and they sacked Gary O'Neill. How long's Uriola been there?
Last season. 14
months, maybe.
Yeah, same time as time as I think what is it as Ange, I think. When did he come in? I think it was the beginning of the season.
Started the season and then got sacked, didn't he?
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I might be making that up. Either way, look at what he's doing there, Brian. He's got loads of injuries. Yeah, look at Brighton, loads of injuries. Wolves, loads of injuries. Arsenal, loads of injuries. Newcastle, United, loads of injuries. I'm sorry, I'm not hearing it. Guys, brand new goalkeeper, Antonin Kinski. It's been confirmed today. Feels to me very much like it's the most no fault of his own, but it feels like a very, normally everyone would be doing massive videos about it. And yeah, we signed. And I'm going to ask the question, has it been kind of underwhelming, or is it underwhelming because of the fact that, like Lubo said, I think we've got about 94 first-team goalkeepers in the squad at the moment. What do you all make of this? Is he going to start? Is he going to push for Cario? Or is this another very cheap signing that's going to wow the fans with generational talent vibes, and then we don't see him because Ange never rotates for Cario? What do we make of it, guys?
I think I'm not going to lie. He's got to play, as far as I'm concerned. I think he has to play because it might be clear to me at the moment that I don't think Brendan Ornstein is going to play. I don't think they believe in him as much as he had a good performance. He was good, especially the circumstances yesterday. But yeah, I have seen a few clips of him. He's very good with his feet. He takes a lot of risks. From what I'm hearing, he's got a bit of arrogance about him, so that's going to be interesting.
You love the arrogance, don't you, Alex?
I think we need. It's not that I just know that we need it because we've got too many nice guys at our club, and that's going to be our downfall at the end of the day. As far as I'm concerned, even if we win this trophy, Carabao Cup, I still think that's going to do us a disservice as far as I'm concerned. And that's also down to the manager, but I don't want to go there at all there. But I do think he's good. He does look very good with his feet, and he does take a lot of risks as well. But for me, to answer the question, I think he needs to start as far as I'm concerned. You need to put him in the baptism of fire. He's played in the Champions League and Europe as well, Europa League as well. So he ain't no apprentice, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think the issue is sorry, Dan, quickly. I think the issue is that we've got 4 goalkeepers, probably over the age of 21, sitting there, and we've just signed a 5th who's potentially going to go into the first team. And there's so many other positions that probably need to be covered in the next few weeks. And I think that's how we're all looking at going, okay, it's fine that you've signed a goalkeeper. Well done for being quite proactive in a window. But it's a case of why a goalkeeper right now when you've got other positions that are more telling, especially if Austin was going to play yesterday and they knew, okay, they didn't really know he was going to have a good performance yesterday because, to be fair, Szynski was already coming to the training ground. However, it's just a case of, did you really see the goalkeeper as the priority, a number one position that we needed going into the next few weeks, considering no Udogie, Reguilon he doesn't trust, Spence, defence has just gone to pot. But yeah, Dan, go on, you go on.
Look, I agree with both Marlon and Alex, what you both said. Look, for me, it's another young player for this so-called youth project, isn't it? untested, who 21 is very young for a goalie bringing in. What's the plan for him? Who knows? We should be throwing him straight in then if we're signing him. For how much was it? 15 million?
12 and a half.
Yeah.
12 and a half. He's got to be
12 and a
starting,
half,
isn't he? I mean, I wouldn't have signed him. I would have stuck with Austin. I think he played well the other day. He's had to wait, 7 years for his first start?
Me
It just
too.
doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But he's here now, so what can we do? We have to get behind him. There's more. Sorry, Ian, go on.
Sorry, that's you're right. That's where there's no planning by the club, because you've got Keeley and Gunter coming up, who are 19 and 20, I think, who are two really highly rated keepers. Yeah. And if they carry on improving, then both of them should be good enough to be in the squad. So I don't understand what we're doing, to be honest. There doesn't seem to be any clear plan. It's
look at it this way, though. If Austin is a good keeper, yeah, and don't get me wrong, he had a good game. But then Forster had a good couple of quality games as well. If he's that good, and he's 24, 25, and still in the under 21s most of the time, and he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 managers around him and that, and not one of them have used him, doesn't that also tell you something?
Yeah, but at the same time, the only reason why he is still here is because he's English. There's no other reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, though, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, so if he was any decent, surely he would have been played by now.
Look, you're right, because actually, I think there was a surprise element yesterday that he actually played well.
Yeah.
Because if we're looking at it in the bigger picture, he would never have, if he trusted Austin and Whiteman, because those are the two goalkeepers that we're talking about, he would never have put Fraser Forster in that European squad.
Exactly.
So it's a case of, it's one of them. We'll see. Look, Austin's probably going to play against Liverpool, so we'll see. We'll see because no one at the club's trusted Austin for all these years, and no club's really pushed for him to come on loan to them. Because that's
do you not think, Marlon? Do you not think Kinski goes straight into the Liverpool game?
From what everyone is saying and from what people have said, he's come here to be a first-team goalkeeper. He's not here to sit on the bench. He's here to challenge Vicario. So, he probably does go straight into the first team on Wednesday if he's been registered in time for that game. I don't know if he has or not.
And after the performance that Austin done there, I mean, for me, I'm still a big fan of Vicario, but I know he's also got some big issues that need sorting out as well. But for me, Austin, I thought his distribution was twice as good as what I've ever seen Vicario do, whether it was throwing the ball or kicking the ball. I thought the way he commanded when he came out and caught the ball, he looked 10 times safer than I've ever seen Vicario be as well. Did I see him on shot stopping and moments and that? Not really. It's not as though he had a lot to do against him. But in those 2 points alone, just them 2 points, because that's all I can judge on, I thought he was significantly better than anything I've seen at Spurs for a long time. Yeah,
and just to agree with you on that, the best thing that I saw him do yesterday, when he did have that short pass on, he went, I know what to do, I'll go long. He didn't do what Fraser Forster and Vicario do and try and put us in a suicidal situation. Austin actually went, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go long, go up long to Solanke or try and hit it down the wings and let them deal with it. And
his throw with the ball was brilliant as well. Proper on spot. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But it's just a case of when we looked at the friendlies that we had in the summer, he probably wasn't good enough to be a Premier League goalkeeper. But we've had one game with him. We'll see how it goes.
I've got to tell you, Marlon, he played at QPR. He came on, I think, for the second half at QPR pre-season. He was superb.
I didn't think he was. I thought I thought the goalkeeper that really impressed me in the summer was Gunter. The rest I thought were pretty below average, and I was very surprised with Austin's performance yesterday because when I've seen him in friendlies, I've not really seen him do what he did yesterday, and I just thought personally as a goalkeeper he would, and I just couldn't see what he didn't wow me. He didn't go, oh, you're going to be a Premier League goalkeeper. But yesterday was the first time I've seen him where it's not been in a friendly and gone, actually, there is something about you maybe, or maybe this was, you just knew you had the confidence to come in because you knew you were going to be number one yesterday.
There was one save the opposite end to where the Spurs fans were at QPR that was just magnificent. That Austin made, that everyone just looked around and said, Jesus, that's one hell of a save.
Yeah, I do remember the game. I do remember.
He didn't really have many saves to pull off, did he? I mean,
It was a good
best
save.
save
I remember
he's
it was.
done.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, but this
I
is
remember
Ian who does think that Donnelly is going to win the Ballon d'Or in 25-26. So we've got to be careful. But guys,
Was
on a
that
serious
after Archie Gray?
it'll be Archie Gray next year, and then the year after is going to be Jamie Donnelly. Then
You
Mikey
can
Moore,
guys. You can jest. You carry on
then
jesting.
Bergval, then Kinski. We've got it sewn up for the next 5 seasons.
Hang on,
guys,
you've forgotten. Sav, Mikey Moore. Don't forget Mikey Moore.
I said Mikey Moore. Moore. He'll be in there. Yeah. Guys, on a serious note, I mean, that is now Vicario, Forster, Kinski, Austin, Whiteman, Keeley,
Gunter.
Look, as I said, I can't sit and judge this goalkeeper. I think everyone's turned into an expert overnight on this goalkeeper through YouTube videos. I don't know, right? Peter Cech has come out today, obviously backing his fellow countrymen, saying this guy's great. He's going to be amazing for Spurs. Let's hope he is. I think we all hope that anyone that signs for Spurs is. But what does that now mean in terms of Forster, Austin, Whiteman? They're all homegrown registered footballers at Spurs, right? So how do we, and so I haven't really looked too deep into this. This is off the cuff. How do we navigate this then in terms of if they're all taking up homegrown spots, we can't get rid of all of them, but now those 3 are never going to get games of football unless 2 first-choice goalkeepers are injured.
Well, the way I see it, Sav, is that Werner's going, or Werner won't be played in the Europa, and the keeper will take his place because they're full up with the 17 spaces, aren't they?
Is he allowed to play in Europe?
Yeah, once in the next. So once we qualify, he's allowed to be registered in the next round of the competition. It's the man. No, we will. We're not going to. There's not going to. But what it is, he's allowed to. The rules have changed.
Clip Marlon. We will.
Yeah.
We will qualify.
We will. But no. But he's allowed
as
to
we
play
get
in the
knocked
next.
out the Karabag over 2 legs in a playoff.
It's very. Look, if we got knocked out of the Europa League, I'll be like, wow, he's got to go. But it's. But what it is, the rules have changed because it doesn't matter that he's played for Slavia Prague already. And once he plays the next round, I believe he's allowed to register for the knockout stages with us.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So,
I believe someone in the chat
in,
can go check. Yeah.
I don't know.
Ian,
I'll take your word.
He comes in. Werner drops out, but does that mean we're sending Werner back? Because I saw RB Leipzig the other day. Didn't they say they've got no interest in recalling him and putting him in their squad?
No, but he just won't be eligible for Europa games the way Reguilon and Spence haven't been eligible for the first half.
Can we afford to take Werner out though? Can we afford to take him out of that side? Because we are now at a point where fans are now comparing Son to Werner. Yeah. Can we afford to take Werner out of that side at the moment? Who else have we got there? At least goalkeepers, we got choice.
Well, if the report is true.
I'll cut his loan and just get somebody else in.
But we probably can't cut his loan by the look of it because it's on a contract that you will have him for that year, like it or lump it. That's how it's looking.
Dan, I think I know you're going to say.
I'm lounge out then. I'm lounge out then.
Dan,
listen, if the report is true that we're bringing in players, then maybe we can, but we'll have to see.
Because we are linked with what's his name from PSG,
right?
Apparently, so.
I was moving on to that, Marlon. So this all ties into the same conversation. No, you're right. This all ties into the same conversation. There are, God, I can't tell you how many times I've said this being a YouTuber. According to reports, right, Kolo Muani is one that Spurs are looking at, according to Stell's best mate, Paul O'Keefe. But this is another one, right? I'll talk about Kolo Muani in a minute from what we think of him as a player. At the moment, I want to talk about it from what Ian was just saying there. If we then go and get a player on loan that is a foreign footballer, i.e. Kolo Muani for this example, you put Kinski in to the Europa League squad and you take out Werner. What do we then do about a Kolo Muani who can't join and then sit not be in the Europa League squad, right? Because surely he's too good for that. So, I'm confused. I was told we were buying homegrown. Then it looks like there's a lot of foreign players coming in. I don't know about anyone else, but what do we do there? Who drops out? What do we do?
Well, I think for me, I think you got to be harsh, and this is where we got to be harsh with the squad. Well, okay, if you're not playing well, mate, you're not going to be in the European squad. So,
Who?
like, if you get new signings in, sorry, mate, if it's too many people, because it's our fault for this. This has been since Poch, because this has been a situation like with Poch as well. This has been since then. Because I always watched Earliest of Gold, and he was always banging on about it like I was before. I'm so bored about talking about it now. So for me, I don't really care anymore. You know what I mean? For me, if you want to play in that European squad, you got to start playing well. You got to start playing for your place. So
who do we drop?
even the songs, I'll be sitting there saying, "Sorry, son." Like,
Yeah,
mate,
but Alex, he's not got. Listen, I don't listen.
No.
Everyone on the panel might tell me I'm crazy. He's not going to turn around to the captain and say, "Son, can I have a word? We're in the Europa League, and Marlon's guaranteed that we're going through to the next stages. Son, sorry, I'm leaving you out of the 25-man squad." Does anyone else think like I get what Alex is saying, but it's not going to happen, is it?
That's like saying Romero's been crap and he'll drop in.
Right. So this is my question: Who's being dropped from that squad? That's a foreigner. So Odegaard.
Odegaard, because Odegaard is he? Odegaard's he's part of the.
It's a long-term injury.
He's a long-term injury, isn't
No,
he?
he's under 21, isn't he? I think.
Is he under 21?
I'm looking.
If he's under 21, then he don't have to be registered, does he?
We're not going to get Moani, man. It's not happening. It's another myth that they're circulating. He's not.
Yeah, but they're on the way still. They're on the plane, I heard.
Yeah, he's on the plane.
Yeah, he's not coming.
No, I'm only just.
Ornstein hasn't confirmed it yet.
I'm only
He's
just
not coming to
just having a
Spurs.
conversation right now. Just just a scenario. That's what I'm doing at the moment, because I can make believe that I'm going to be married tomorrow, but it's not going to ever happen. You know what I mean? So let's not go there.
Maybe
the point I'm making
maybe
is.
sold.
The point I'm making is, right, I'm just trying to make it light-hearted, you know what I mean? Sometimes we have to have a little bit of a joke, don't you? But the point I'm making is, right, it's like, for me, like, there are players in there that are injured at the moment, right, and you can be harsh. I just think if it was me wanting to win, or being a bit hard, if we want a little bit more competition in the team, you've got to give something of some like reward and punishment to some of these players that are not playing well at the moment. You see what I'm saying? That's managing your squad.
Take
I
the
don't know.
shots.
Maybe
Don't do
I'm just
that.
trying to be devil's
And
advocate.
you don't do that.
Who'd you
I
punish?
know, but I'm just saying at the moment.
Who'd you
I'm
punish?
just getting fed up with just worrying about how are you feeling,
Alex,
the players
Alex,
are feeling.
I think the whole point I've asked for here is a name. It's I
Richie.
get the theory.
Alderbear.
Right.
All
Is
the-
it Richie?
Because I think
Richarlison.
Richarlison would make the most
thank
sense.
you. Yeah, that's
because
a good one.
he'll come back, get injured again, and then we're stuck. So, and they've seen it a couple of times this season, a couple of times. That would probably be the guy if they're looking at, because they want to get rid. They want him to go to Saudi from the sounds of it, but he's refusing to go. Maybe that's your way in to go, look, we're taking you out. We can't rely on you to stay fit. We're bringing in Moani if he was to come in. Not saying he will, but there'll be another one. If it's not Moani, it'll be someone else.
Yeah, of course.
But then you're only left with one striker, Marlon, Solanke. Then you've got no strikers.
But
left.
you can play Moani up front, though.
You can play him up front.
He's scored 6 goals in about 2 years.
Yeah,
I'm not being funny.
Hang on, Stel, you're being harsh. Hang on.
Yeah.
What
You're
about
being
this
harsh.
young striker we keep bringing on to give a chance when we're losing games? He could play.
Oh, Lancashire, yeah.
Lancashire. You know the one
Oh,
when
come
we
on,
were
man.
losing the other day and he got 0 minutes because Ange is a fraud, or the week before when we were losing and he got 0 minutes.
They'll play Son up front still, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sav,
Right.
Yeah. Yes,
Sav,
Ian.
I've made a list. I've got yesterday's program in front of me, and I made a list of the non-homegrown players. I'm missing something, and if anyone on the panel or anyone watching can fill me in on this, because of the homegrown and because we've only got 23 players for the Europa. But the players that I've listed that for me are not homegrown: Vicario, Dragerson, Son, Basuma, Richie, Udogi, Werner, Romero, Kulu, Porro, Sarr, Bentancur, Mickey, Davis, Johnson, Spence, Region. Now we've got Kinski, that's 18. but we've only got 23 in the squad, interestingly enough, and for some reason he left Spence and Reguilon out. So that's why I'm not too sure in terms of, because the Europa rules are different to the Premier League rules in terms of how many years a player's got to be at a club. And I think you've got to, I think Spence doesn't qualify for homegrown because he's not been at Spurs for 3 years.
Yeah.
And he didn't come through the
not
academy.
Trained for the club. They're not academy trained.
Ian, so
No.
what's your point then? What are you saying? Out of the 18, how many are we allowed to register?
Well, I'm not sure if it's 15 or 17, which is why I need some
17
help.
foreign players. 17 foreign players.
If it's 17, then the new keeper makes 18. So someone's got to go.
Someone
Well,
has
Reggie-
to
That's for the
Reggie-
Europa squad, right, Ian?
yeah,
That's for the Europa squad,
Yeah, but then
Okay.
he'll drop Reggie because now Spence can be left or right back. So you just get rid of Reggie.
For me, Reguilon should be in that squad. He's a proper left back. He's a proper left back. We're short of left backs.
Yeah, but
Does the
Spence
under
does a better
21
job
rule
than Reggie.
apply for the foreign players as well? I'm not sure.
No, I don't think it does, Dan.
Then
Sorry,
you'll be able to get in the-
under 21. I mean,
Yeah,
I've not-
21 or under. It's 21 or under, isn't it?
It's 21 and under that you can include as well as. And I think...
Yeah, well, you don't even have to put them into the squad, do you? You can just pick them and pock them as you please. And if he's 21, then he'll just be able to play anyway. It's once you are over 21, once you are 22. When you are 21 or under, you can pick them as you please, can't you? They don't actually have to be part of the team. So if he's 21, this goalkeeper, then we wouldn't even have to put him in the list, basically, and could play him anyway as an under 21 player.
Guys, I would just get rid of Reggie. He's a crap defender. When he gets upfield, he just smashes it into the box aimlessly, like you saw yesterday. A waste of an effort that was. He offers nothing physically. For me, just he didn't work at Man United. He didn't work at Brentford.
Yes, he did. Yes,
so why
he
did he stay there? So why did he stay there?
Because they thought Luke Shaw was coming back. But Reguilon did well at United.
Right.
Reguilon did well at Brentford.
No, he didn't. The Man United fans were cussing him. He was getting rinsed.
Yeah, completely. He did not do well at United at all. He was despised.
Give Troy Parrott.
Reggie is good in Spain, just like Bergville, where flimsy, more skinny players do better there because it's not as physically charged as the Premier League, and the league's a bit different. Okay, I'm not going to say they're worse, we're better. I'm not doing that. But Bergville's doing really well there. Lo Celso's doing really well there. They come to Spurs, it's a shit show. And I think it's the same for Reggie in England. I don't think Reggie shoots. He doesn't do that either. He doesn't suit the league. I don't think it's going to work. I would drop him because Spence has shown that he's actually not bad. He came on at Old Trafford, went left back, did a good job. He's played right back in Europe as well. He's done all right for us. He came on against Coventry, helped us win it. Yesterday he went centre back. Spence is more versatile across the back four. I'd keep Spence. There's your backup. Just move. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, Ian, keep Spence as the left or right backup, and just move Reggie on, and there's your 17 registered. Look, I'm just saying that's what I would do. That's the one player I'd drop. If it was down to me and I'm in control, I'd sell Werner tomorrow. I'd sell Richarlison tomorrow. I'd move Odegaard on. Right, there's a lot I'd do, but realistically, we're not going to do that. So I would just let Reggie, move on.
Isn't anyone worried that if we bring this bloke in, he's just going to get worse under Ange?
I'm worried about every player that comes in that's going to get worse under Ange.
This is what I mean. And he's not a great, prolific player anyway. He's only had one good season.
Mawani.
Yeah, he's had one good season goal scoring wise.
Let's move on to Mawani. Dan Ellis, I'm coming to you first then. Mawani is the flavour of the day, right? Mawani's a name. Paul O'Keefe said it, so it's true, right? Right, Mawani's the flavour of the day. Dan, there's a lot of people, mate, that are saying this guy doesn't score enough goals. And if you actually look at his career record, it's
true.
Lots of PSG fans apparently saying that they don't really rate him. It's not worked for him there, but apparently he plays better for France. Is this just us getting somebody who's available versus what we need, or do you think he fits in at Tottenham?
Just a hard-working player, just another hard-working player. Doesn't score enough goals, doesn't do enough, not enough assists. If you look at his stats over the past 3 or 4 seasons, is he really going to improve us? I doubt it.
He's Pape Sarr with more experience.
Yeah.
If you cannot go to PSG and play up front and score goals, you got issues.
There you go, Dan. That's it. Spot on. Maybe if you had a coach, Savva, if you had a coach, maybe. But we don't have a coach, do we?
He's perfect for Spurs. He's not great. He's not crap. He's that average run-of-the-mill Bissouma, Pape Sarr, Lo Celso. Another one of them. Just throw him in the club. It's just another body. And he'll have some games where we say, wow, that was brilliant. Then we'll say other games. Then he'll have other games where we say, my God, he's shit. No wonder PSG wanted him out. It'll be up and down.
Should we not be going for someone like Liam Delap, who we all saw today for Ipswich?
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
He has looked okay.
He's been very good this year.
But I think the difference is that look at the work that Kieran McKenna's doing with him. That's the thing. Because I absolutely agree with I've said it before, what Savva said. I do get worried about any player that comes to Tottenham now with Postecoglou in charge, because I think he ruins players as far as I'm concerned. What he's doing to Kulusevski, who I do not rate, I still do not rate. He's in good form and he's been our best player, but that shows you the quality of our squad, the quality of the squad right now. Because look at where position we are at the moment, but he is ruining him. He's absolutely ruining him. He ruined Van der Ven, and the thing that annoyed me yesterday. I'm sorry, I'm moving it on, but the thing that really annoyed me yesterday, he brought on Bergval. He brought off Bergval, right, when he should have brought off Kulu. Because who's going to play against Liverpool? Oh yeah, Kulu. So he's in the red. He's in the red. He'll rinse these other players to pieces. I wouldn't even trust him with Grealish.
Guys, Ange's going to be gone soon, guys. Ange will be gone soon.
Dan, he's not going to be.
He's not going to last much longer.
Dan,
even though they said, "Oh, they're 100% behind him," he's not going to be here much longer.
Dan, it's all love, yeah, but
he's a dead man walking.
He's not leaving.
Yes, he is. He is a waffler.
Do you guys truly believe that? I listen. You know, I will lead the Ange out fan club into battle, right? But I can't see him going. I feel like I've never seen a manager have so much support for doing so bad. I've never seen it in my lifetime. A manager this. Do you know what I don't get about it? It doesn't seem to matter whenever we talk about injuries, whatever, brother. It's almost as though we just forget everything that happened before all these injuries, all the crap results, all the games where we conceded loads of goals, how wide open we are tactically. And everyone's pinning their hopes on when these players come back that suddenly the tactics have changed and we're not wide open. But do you guys really believe that he's a dead man walking? I can't see it.
I'll tell you how I think the club view it. This is my take on why he's still there. Take last season out of it. He's lost Harry Kane. He's finished fifth, which I'm sure.
He didn't lose Harry Kane. He didn't lose
Harry Kane. Harry Kane played in this. Harry Kane played at the Lane for Andy.
He never had Harry Kane. Harry Kane was gone. No, I ain't having that. No,
it was a massive loss. It's a massive loss to the team.
He never had Harry Kane. He never had to adapt.
He joined the club without a Harry Kane, like most managers do.
Exactly. I'm with Savva on this one 1,000%. Look, if you join the club and you're playing with Harry Kane all season, and then you lose him at the end of the season, now you've got to adapt about Harry Kane. You join the club and Harry Kane has gone and only played for you in a friendly, you ain't adapting to not having Harry Kane. He never had him in the first.
If you join a club and your star man, your only world-class player, is on the way out, that is a massive loss for any manager.
He would have
never had him.
Hold on. Hear me out. He's finished. He's got off to a great start. It's petered out, but he's still finished fifth. So he's got, in terms of the board, he's taken Spurs into Europe. Europa League is an avenue into the Champions League, right? They've gone from 8th to 5th. So he's started up. So he's not the golden boy, but he's earned brownie points. Levy's now looking at this season. We tend to talk about from Chelsea onwards and his record from Chelsea. Levy's probably looking from beginning of this season And I think, like Stel, that the longer this goes on and the more we're in free fall, one win in 9 games, is it? If that becomes 1 in 11 or 1 in 12.
2 in 11, I think it is.
Yeah,
Sure,
in
he'll
league,
get that.
then I think he will go. There's no question he will go, because I was going to mention before, we were talking about who would you want on loan as a loan signing. For me, Grealish would be perfect for our team. Perfect, but not under Ange.
Can you imagine what he'd do to Grealish's massive hamstrings and massive calves?
But he's just what we need. Someone that hold on to the ball, keep the ball, run at players. He'd be terrific.
He don't play like that. This is the problem. Look, not having a go at you, Ian. Sorry, you know me in general, how I am, right? I'm not having a go at you, but this is the thing. When you watch Spurs, everything we do is 100 miles per hour. Listen, I agree with you. If someone said, we had fans the other day, by the way, saying Grealish wouldn't get in our team. That's where we're at as a fan base, right? If Jack Grealish played for Spurs, right, he'd have what we don't have. A wide player that has the ability to go, you know what? I'm going to carry the ball up the pitch, but I'm not just going to run with it like a headless chicken into the first defender. I can hold it up. I can beat the man. I can lay it off. He's got all of those in his locker because Jack Grealish is technically superior to any.
He can cross.
Yeah. He's technically superior to all of our wide men. He is. Even Sonny, who's brilliant running, Grealish is technically superb.
Yeah.
The problem
Grealish is twice the winger that Son ever was. As all Son could ever do is run with the ball and score a goal.
I agree, but my point here is that's not how Ange plays. Ange plays 100 mile per hour. Spurs win the ball back. You saw yesterday, every goal kick, every corner, every throw on, it was boom, boom, boom. It's like, whoa, slow down. Let some players get in position. He doesn't do that. So that would be my worry, is that he would ruin a Jack Grealish, right? I agree with you, Ian, but I want to touch on the Kane thing. Sorry. I just don't get this whole he lost Kane. He never, ever had Harry Kane. Most managers that go to a new club don't have Harry Kane, right? And this has been this man's excuse for 18 months is, but he lost Kane. Most managers, 99.9% of managers go to a new club and don't have a Haaland, a Kane, a Lewandowski, right? There's not many of them about. When Harry Kane was at Spurs, Harry Kane has said it, Levy said it, and Ange'S said it, that basically on day one, when Harry Kane met Ange Postecoglou, he told him he wants to leave the club. So Ange had all summer to train, plan without Harry Kane, right? We had all summer to find a striker to replace Harry Kane. I'm not saying you're going to get anyone as good as Harry, because that doesn't exist. And if they do, they're not joining Tottenham. But then all of a sudden it's, he's lost Harry Kane. But even if Harry Kane played, Harry Kane isn't the difference between Ange's tactics. Harry Kane, if he plays, doesn't play in centre mid and slows the game down. Harry Kane doesn't play as an inverted fullback. This is what I don't understand. We're scoring goals. Yeah, we'd score some more with Harry Kane, but I don't understand how people think he lost him. He never had him.
But this is what Ange said. So I've just painted a picture. Ange sat down with Levy end of last season. He's got, look, Daniel, I've got you into Europe. I've got you 5th place. I didn't have Harry Kane. So he's got brownie points. So Levy's looking at it with a fresh slate from the beginning of this season. We look at it from Chelsea onwards and look at the results. I'm sure Levy's probably looking at it, right, that season's gone. Let's close the book on that season. Now we're moving on to a new season. And that's why I think he's given him extra time. But I think that will run out. If Spurs carry on losing, he will pull the trigger, because lepers don't change their spots. He's been doing this for 24 years. He's not going to suddenly change. He's not going to suddenly change, Levy, and show an interest in making the football side successful.
I agree with Ian.
That's not him.
I agree.
I agree with that side. I do agree with that side, but I'm not going to agree with this whole, oh, look, I got you fifth without Harry Kane. Like this, I got you fifth without Harry Kane. Harry Kane is one man, right?
No,
Spurs didn't struggle to score goals without Harry Kane. I don't understand.
Can you explain why
Kane.
he's still at the club then?
Huh?
I'm painting a picture of why Levy hasn't pulled the trigger yet on Ange.
Guys, you know the next 10 Premier League fixtures, I only see us winning one of them. He won't be here.
Really?
I
Win.
honestly
Look at the fixtures ahead. One, Leicester at home. That's it.
I see where Ian's coming from. I honestly don't think they're going to sack him, and then this is why I'm not having a go at Levy. That's why I'm not having a go at Levy. I've seen a lot today, and I was at the game yesterday.
Please have a go at Levy, please.
No, I can't because he's doing what I wanted him to do in June 2023, sticking with the manager. So I can't have a go at him anymore because he's shown
but
me
Alex,
that
they're sticking with a manager, and then there's actually sticking with a manager.
I know, but that's another
mistakes
argument.
happen. Levy, boards make mistakes. It's a massive mistake.
But I get your point. I get your point, Dan. It's just that this is another argument there. That's another argument. But the point is that what I wanted to see is whether they're going to stick with the manager through really hard times. You're seeing that right now because we have got a really bad record at the moment, right? So he's proven to me that he can stick with the manager. Maybe that's influence of Scott Munn or Johan Lang. I don't know. But
I understand you.
At the moment, that is it. But the thing that's really getting to me at the moment, like I said, and I don't want to repeat what I've just said before, because you've seen it on Mr. Box Office TV when I did a show on why I don't back Ange. He ain't a coach, and that is the be all and end all for me. And that's where I can't deal with that anymore. And the thing is, then I get things saying, because I was at the game yesterday, and yes, we weren't too bad yesterday. But I saw a coach yesterday out-coach Ange again. Because I don't think Newcastle played that well. But when it was crucial moments, their coach was bringing some of their players in, managing the game, and that's what got us through that game. And people are still talking about the referee decision, giving us that they didn't get a sending off, which happens. The fact that there was a handball there, which was not a handball, right? And we're going on about the referee's decisions. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the referee's decision was. We had 10 minutes extra time to score a goal, and we did absolutely nothing.
100%.
The player that we've got up front, Solanke, right? Areola, what does he do? He gets him more in the box, and what does he do? Have his best goal scoring form. What does Ange do? He says, "Oh, just work hard, mate. Just work hard, mate. Yeah, just be more away from the goal rather than actually in the box." And what is he doing? Not scoring goals.
Take off their best striker as well. Take off their best striker, Isaac, and go defensive. Shut up shop for the next 10, 20 minutes. We can hold what Spurs have got to give.
I'm just talking about Areola.
Match management.
Yeah, exactly. Eddie Howe and Areola. Now, listen. I'm just.
And
speaking
Silva
and speaking
got hurt yesterday against Arsenal with Brighton.
Yeah, exactly. This is the point I'm making. I know I'm just speaking because at the end of the day, I don't think he's going. He ain't going. Yeah, and we've already had the conversation. We can't trust them to actually go ahead and be proactive.
He'll be gone. He'll be gone. The only thing that saves Ange is winning that Carabao Cup. That's it.
But we've got people saying it should be the Europa League. I mean, the Europa League, the knockout phases for that don't start till about February, do they? Like the end of Feb.
If we win, Sav, if we beat Hoffenheim and Elfsborg, we go straight into the last 16, and that's in March.
The form we're in, we struggle to beat them.
I'm not waiting until. I mean, I've got no choice, but I don't want to wait until March. I don't want to say, well, you know what? We're 16th, 17th, but if we win that Europa League, I'd rather get a new manager in that can galvanise us for the Europa League.
Sure.
For me,
and that's the carrot, Savva. That's the carrot. When we're approaching new managers, we're still in some competitions. That's the
carrot.
Dan, I don't think the Carabao Cup is keeping him in. Because
for Levy, in Levy's position, if he wins that, then whatever league position we finish, he's probably saved him.
No,
No,
but hang
no,
on,
win it.
hold
We're
on.
not gonna win.
Dan, he wanted top 4 in front of Carabao Cup or whatever it was
Top
called.
4, Ange would have been sacked.
No,
by now.
stop. Hang on. With Mourinho, this is the reason for the fallouts. He told Mourinho to play a full strength team on the Wednesday night against Southampton, on the Wednesday before the Sunday final with Man City, and Mourinho said no.
So what's happening this season then?
Well, listen, he needs Champions League football. Champions League football brings what? 20,
So why
30
hasn't he sacked him then, Ian?
40, hang on, 40 million. This is what I'm saying to you. The club are in a lot of debts. They forget. Hang on. He needs European football. Carabao Cup brings you in £1 million. Champions League football, if he got 5th, and that's why I'm surprised he hasn't pulled the trigger yet. 5th place this year could well get you Champions League football, which could bring in what, 40, 50 million. So that is
Ian. Champions League football minimum, the group stage brings in 70 mil, and that's just the group stage.
Is that what it is now? Well, there you go. So I don't think for £1 million.
So why has he not pulled the trigger?
That's the question, Ian. If it was
It's
about
what-
Champions League, he would have
The
been
question
gone.
is, all these
I
fans
don't
saying,
understand it. I honestly don't
plays-
understand it.
you know, he deserves the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. Listen, from a fan point of view, of course we want to win a cup, but if that is the barometer, that Ian, I bloody agree with you, mate. And me and Danny always have this conversation that his form, Daniel Levy's, by the way, over 24 years has been, if we get far away from the European places. Now, guys, I'm going to show you this. Sorry to bring this up again for anyone who's hurting, but this shows you. Hang on, let me put us there. Right, this shows you. At the moment, we are 9 points off of the Conference League. Right, if I'm right, I think the 7th place gets you Conference League. Is that right? Or 8th?
7th, could be 8th, yeah.
7th
Could
could
be
be 8th.
7th.
So we're 8 points off 8th and 9 points off 7th. So if we're saying it's purely about Champions League football, why on earth has he not pulled the trigger if that is the case? Because let's be fair, 24 points, right? Top 4 is 12 points away. We're saying that whatever Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool do, more than one of them, we would need to win 5 more games than one of those does in the last 18. So if Chelsea won 11 of their last 18 games, Spurs would have to win 16 to overtake them. Right? So why then, based on that opinion here, why has he not been sacked?
It's a mystery, isn't it?
I told you guys. No, it's not. I told you at the start of the show. The fans haven't turned. Our fan base.
That's to do with financially, still.
If he's sitting down with his accountant, it's got nothing to do with whether the fans have turned or not. Still, it's pound, shillings, and pence.
You're saying that it's the finances. I'm saying they've done the calculations, and the calculations tell them, as it stands, just stay with it. But if the fans turn, it swings the pendulum, because fans will stop going, and if fans stop going, the money's not coming through the till. This is what will happen. You saw it against Newcastle. When I sold my ticket, there was loads of tickets on sale. I heard there was quite a few empty seats against Newcastle.
There weren't that many still. I've got to tell you, we looked around just before kickoff. It looked pretty full.
Well,
Guys, we keep saying this about the fans turning. They're not turning, are they? We keep saying this every week. Wait until the fans turn. Why? They're not turning.
Yeah. Lose to Liverpool in the Carabao Cup, so that's over. Lose to Arsenal, North London derby, and can't beat Everton away. They will turn at some point.
But then they'll say, then the excuse will be, but we're still in the FA Cup. Wasn't it? We beat Tamworth.
Look at these. Sav, I'll read you out these attendances. Yeah. Everton just over 61.5. Arsenal 61,645. Brentford.
No, those figures, sorry, Ian, those figures aren't true, because what they do is they count for people that haven't entered the stadium. So if I buy a ticket but I don't turn up, they count it. So season ticket holders, whether they turn up or not, they count it as attending, because it's not attendance. It's
no.
So it's a bit manipulative.
Okay. Carabao.
On the exchange, Ian, on the exchange, right? I sold my ticket on Thursday or Friday, right?
Yeah.
On the exchange, there were thousands of tickets. Thousands. Are you telling me Spurs fans said, yeah, I fancy going to the Lane. We'll beat Newcastle? Nah, I don't think so.
So let me ask then, guys. I mean, you've got, as a fan base, we've got normally you would just say there's an in and an out lot, right? But we've got so many different buckets. It's unbelievable. We've got the I'm in all the while we're in the Carabao Cup. We've got the I'm in all the while we're in all the cups. We've got the I'm in regardless because no matter how much my eyes tell me how bad he is, I'm just doubling down on how bad he is and we might as well keep him because no one can do better. Then we've got people that are just like, get him out. I don't care if he wins 30 games in a row, get him out, right? What I don't understand is this for me is the complete anomaly of a season in terms of every other year has been about Champions League. Every other year has been the moment, like when Poch was sacked, it's because we dropped to 14th in the table. Does anyone remember that, right?
Yeah.
We dropped to 14th in the table. That's basically where we are now, give or take a point, right? We're basically, I mean, if we look at the league table, we are actually, we are 1 point above 14th. So any other season, he sacks the manager. Then we've got, obviously still like your opinion and others are saying, well, hang on, it's because no one's turned on him. What is important to this club now? Is it a League Cup that gets you £1 million, as Ian said? Is it the Champions League football? Is it Levy doesn't want the people to chant his name out, and the moment they do, he's going to sack him? Like, what are we? What are we anymore? What is the aim?
I think it's Europa League. I think the only way into the Champions League next season is through the Europa League.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Ange's saying to him, when I get all my players back, when I've got a full strength team, we are good enough to win this trophy, and that gives you Champions League football.
Who's thinking that, Ian? Levy?
Yeah, but
No.
That's high risk. This board doesn't take risk like that. This board doesn't take risk like that. It never has done. It never will.
I don't think we've got any chance
make
to get
sense.
Europa League.
Listen,
It
does make sense. It does make sense. Look, when Poch was here, players went to the owner and said they weren't happy about certain things. Ericsson wanted out. Ericsson wanted out after that Champions League final. There was problems in the dressing room beginning. I remember so many fans said, get Poch out. He can't get it over the line. Conte, he threw half the team under a bus, and most fans didn't. Sorry, Mourinho threw half the players under a bus, and most of the fans didn't want him in the first place. Conte divided everyone down the middle. When you look at the Ange thing, we lose, and our players say, but we won in life. You never heard that shit when we lost under. Do you remember we lost to Dinamo Zagreb?
Yeah.
Do you remember the post-match interviews? It was carnage. We lose now. We clapped the team off the pitch when we lost 4-1 to Chelsea. The players said we won in life. Last week, who was it that came out a couple of weeks ago with the statements? Romero. It's the board. Don't you dare turn on Ange. If you sack Ange, I want out as well. Didn't Romero come out with some kind of statement like that? It's the first time I've seen players publicly back a manager, fans publicly not turn against the manager. What can the board do? Go against the players and go against the fans. It'll be chaos. I'm telling you, if he sacks Ange, he'll have the biggest problem with the fan base he's ever had, because most of them want him here. I watch so many podcasts and YouTube channels, not because I watch them, but when there's a big event, like a big talking point, I just want to see what the general consensus is. This is the minority here. The majority want Ange in. They want him to stay. They think he's great. And the players, you don't see no disharmony. Look at Maddison. Maddison's been treated like shit, in my opinion. Or
I agree.
What do I know? I'm not in the dressing room. But has he complained? Has he come out and moaned? Any of the post-match interviews he's done with Sky, he's, yeah, I love the football here. It's my kind of football. The fans and the players are on board with this. That's why he hasn't been sacked. That's my honest opinion, because there is no other reason for him to stay. None. I think Levy's stuck in a corner. I think Levy's probably thinking. I think Levy and the board have said, this cannot continue. This cannot be the way this club goes. But the manager's got the backing of the players. The manager's got the backing of the fans. What do you do as the owner? Go against your customers, go against your staff. That's a big call. For any business, that is a massive call. To your customers and all your staff. That's a massive call to make.
That's why I'm saying he's getting backed. That's why I'm saying he's getting backed. And that's why I can't have a go at
Alex,
you know.
Is he being backed or is his back against the wall? Because the players and the fans won't revolt.
Whatever he does,
that's for me is backing then. Because if the players are backing him, right? Okay. If the board are backing him,
they're backing Ange,
right? For me, the argument is more on him. For me, is him as a manager. It has to be looked at him as a manager for me. You see, because I don't see this. Even if we win Carabao Cup, right? I still want him gone because I still think these players will go still with him because I'm seeing it right now. You see what I'm saying?
Alex,
we complained about
if you're in the company, Alex, if you're in the company and your staff said, the manager you've given us, don't get rid of him. And if your customers who come and buy your products, buy your services said, don't get rid of the manager that serves us. You as the owner, what are you going to do? Even if you want the manager gone, what do you do now? That's what I think is happening at Spurs right now. What would you do in that position if you're the owner?
Well,
he's in the corner, isn't he? He's in the corner.
But also, I think there's a lot of them. A lot of the rhetoric I hear is, well, at least Conte and Mourinho was terrible football, and that's
Conte
why
Mourinho lost the fans and they lost the players. It's different situation.
That's a lot of the rhetoric I hear. That's a lot of the opinion I hear when I hear some of the other side argument is that. And I don't hear it from certain people that give me some good football arguments. I've got to be honest, but there's a majority of them have said, "Well, it's better than Conte and Mourinho's football." That's what I hear.
There you go. That's all they want. They want to be entertained. They're being entertained, so they're happy to wait because they think if Romero, Van der Ven, and Odebert come back, we're going to be worldies. They think once these players come back. You know, it's going to be epic.
Basically, this is what a majority of fans asked for. They didn't like Conte's style of football. I didn't like it in the end because he just couldn't do it with the players he had. Yeah, people say it about Ange. Conte could not play the good football he wanted to with the players he had. I mean, look at that absolute shocking team. Bar Kane he had. Even Son was half broken when Conte played him. He just could not make his football look good come love nor money. And I like a team that sits back, defends, and then catches you on 3 direct balls, fast counter-attack. But that's personal opinion. Majority of this club wanted attacking football, entertaining football. That's what they got. And that's what they're happy with.
No. I'm not having that. Sorry, this is Eddie's statement. This is not what people... Sorry, I'm not going to speak for everyone. I'm going to speak as someone that didn't like Conte's style of football. This is not what we wanted at all. When Sam,
the fan base turned on him and still say they like his entertaining football.
But Dan, there's a difference, right? Because
I agree. I didn't want this crap.
I don't see this as attacking, entertaining football. What I watched yesterday against Newcastle, right? We were crap going forward. I thought we were awful going forward. Right? I think most games we're awful going forward, and people go, "Oh, we attack." Do we?
Okay.
What we do is
our channels then.
Right, go on.
Sorry.
No, go.
Go on. I'll let you finish. Sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted.
I've lost the trail. Go on, mate. You're right. Good.
No, you were saying the football weren't good enough with Newcastle, whatever else, and that it's not entertaining striking football. I was listening.
Well, no. What we do is because we play at 100 miles per hour and get the ball forward quickly, people think that is attacking football. Mm-hmm. That's not attacking football. It's just kamikaze. It's gung-ho. Good attacking football is what Liverpool do.
It's like that sensible soccer game. Remember that game, guys? That sensible soccer game? When you go 100 miles per hour.
It's like that was epic. Great game.
Yeah,
great game.
But look, the point I'm making, Savva, is that if the majority of fans did not like this football, you would know about it. the thing is, we don't like it, and a lot of this chat don't like it. But if we go over to a lot of other channels and we go over to all the Ange'S, the first thing they usually say is, yeah, but he's attacking, he's entertaining. And where the fans can even chant when we lose 6-3, but I'd rather lose 6-3 than 1-0, whatever, and that, then this is what a majority of fans asked for.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that point. Let's be fair.
We lost
no other
4-2 to
fan
Chelsea.
base I know. No other fan base I know is 5-1 down at home and sings the manager's name. No other fan base I know says things like, we showed character. People came on, especially YouTubers came on, and they and all the people in comment sections, and it was, do you know what? We showed character coming back against Liverpool. What, you mean when they were 5-1 and took their foot off the gas? That was character. Like, oh, but the way we played against Chelsea, right? But what do you mean? We lost 4-3 at home. We conceded 4 goals at home. You look at yesterday, right? I want to talk about this, right? Yesterday, Ange'S come out and said, and I know Ian's going to be, me and Ian are going to go out on this one. Ange'S come out and said, like, he was asked about the referee and all this, and he said, with a level playing field, we win that game, which first and foremost, he's got no evidence to suggest that. That's just a hunch. Second of all, it wasn't even playing field. Third of all, right, when he said, you know, every game now, it's the players are working really hard. I can't fault the players. I thought we were fantastic. I mean, I don't remember Dubravka having anything to do. He had that one big save from Sarr, which was parried into Brennan Johnson's path and he hits the post. Other than that, does anyone remember Dubravka?
There was a header in the last minute, Sav.
Yeah, but that was given as a goal kick.
Sorry?
That was given as a goal kick. The header from Solanke.
No, the one that went no. There was the header.
You meant the one that Solanke. It was in the middle of the goal. There was another one.
Yeah, last minute or so.
Right? Like it. I mean, what I'm saying is, you've got, for me, Ange is controlling the narrative with most of the fans. Ange is telling people we were fantastic. The players have been brilliant. What I watched, that wasn't fantastic or brilliant. What I watched was a team that scored early on and then completely lost their way like they normally do. I watched a lot of players that can't pass a ball for love nor money. I watched a striker that can't hold a ball up and was the cause of one of the goals in nearly a second. And then what we do is, I said this to you on your show last night, Stel. We have loads of the ball in the second half when Newcastle are in a stage where they're going, you know what? We'll sit in. We don't mind. We can ride this out. We're defensively solid. We defend in midfield well and protect the back four. The wingers come in and help. We don't mind this. But our fans confuse having a lot of the football but we battered them second half. We were the better team. I don't remember us creating anything. I don't remember what we did other than having a lot of sideways passes, which makes people think we played well. So, Ian, I'll come to you first. You agree with Ange, don't you? You think the referee was bad, and you think that we should have won the game.
I think it was just one funny story. I was watching my son play today, and this guy stopped a counter attack with a handball, and I just called out, and the ref didn't give it, and I turned around and just said, "It's Andy Madley," and the ref came up to me at the next break of play and said, "Don't call me Andy Madley." I thought it was coming like to give me a yellow card or whatever, and I thought the referee yesterday was really poor. And I don't agree with Ange at all. We weren't fantastic. I thought it was a really good battling performance. I thought you had 2 or 3 players that have been in a sick bed the whole week. I thought Newcastle came on the back of 5 wins and they're blowing everybody away. And I thought we did okay yesterday. I thought I didn't walk out fuming like I do most games. For me, yesterday was a free hit. I didn't expect anything.
No, there's no free hits.
We're in a lousy run of form. Sad. We're in a lousy run of form. Newcastle are flying. We had 8 players training on Wednesday. Only there's a virus that's gone through the camp. These are things that you can't just ignore. You can't just ignore it. A player that gets out of a sick bed.
Ian,
plays,
can I tell you why I ignore it? Because you know all those issues, you know all those problems, but yet you still try to play out at the back when they've got a 6-on-5 overload on our defence, and you're increasing the chances of bigger errors occurring against a team, as you said, is on fire. So knowing this, don't do that. Don't do it. If there's 5 of you and 4 of them, fine, play out from the back. But when you can see there's 6-on-5.
I'm not making that point. I'm not talking about that. I watched Archie Gray take a goal kick and play it backwards to Austin in goal, and Austin's 3 feet off his line. And you're looking at it and you're thinking, what are these guys being told? It's madness. I'm just talking about the fact that we control possession second half without creating that much. Newcastle killed the game. Last 20 minutes, they kept stopping the game. They kept going down. The boys, my Newcastle friends in the car were laughing about it. They said, this is how Eddie Howe tells there are 2 or 3 of them that do it every single away game.
Yeah. Ian, what you're basically saying is we was expect.
But hold on, Ian, you just said, sorry, Dan, you just said, we've got injuries and there's a virus in the camp. You've got to take that into consideration. And what I'm saying as a response is, well, take that into consideration and don't play the way that you've told them to play. Clearly, our manager didn't take that into consideration and said, keep doing what we do regardless.
Correct.
And also, Ian, with what you just said, the way I've just took that, tell me if I'm wrong, is we was all expecting to get smashed up 5-1 anyway, and we actually gave it a bit of a fight.
Yeah. Yes.
There you go.
I was listening on a podcast yesterday, and somebody spoke about they gave a quick analysis of the match, and they said, Spurs did pretty well. I'm not talking about the result. The result pushes us further down. Considering the way we've been playing recently, it was a better performance.
Yeah, but it all came down to the fact that the manager did not bloody adapt again.
No, it doesn't. We know that. Will you give me 2 minutes? Someone's ringing at the door and there's no arms.
Do you know what this comes down to? This comes down to a famous quote Mourinho once said, which is when he beat Man City or something, and he said, Man City won the possession, I won the 3 points. And I think this is what it comes down to. Do you want the points, or do you want to have possession and dominance, or would you like both? I think everyone here would like both, but to have both, you need players that Man City sign, players that elite teams sign, or a better manager that can adapt. It's got to be what we're getting at the moment is we're getting phases of a game. So, for example, the second half against Newcastle, where we dominate possession, we've got control of the ball, but Newcastle took the points, and we've gone from 10th to 12th. And I think this is where the argument sits. And I actually think, Savva, most fans, well, I'd kind of take the possession and passing the ball because we were in control. And one day, it's going to work, and it's going to work every single week. But there's no evidence to show that under this manager.
I agree.
So far, there's none.
But where they're so strong on their hope and their opinion that it will work, you won't get them changing their mind.
We're hemorrhaging points in the process.
I agree.
Keep hearing, right?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Right. People are saying we played well yesterday. I thought the first goal, the goal was a really well constructed goal, right? That was a really good goal. After that, I thought Newcastle absolutely dominated the first half. I thought Newcastle were toying with us, right? I thought, Ange telling them to play out the back. Ange basically got no central midfield when we're up against Gomares, Tonali, and Joelinton, who look like men v boys. They controlled everything from start to finish. I thought they peppered our goal in the first half. I thought they should have been 4-1 up at least at half time. I thought they were superior to us in every single way. Austin made saves. They missed a couple of... Isak missed one. Gordon missed one. This is just the first half. And then I said this on your show yesterday, right? Eddie Howe did what he did against Man United. First half against Man United was the same against the first half against Spurs. They went all out for it. They controlled the possession. They got the goals. They went in front. Second half in both those games, they go a bit more conservative and hit on the counter-attack. What that means to our fans is, but we had the ball in the second half. And it goes back to what Danny said earlier. Right? Me and Danny don't agree on everything, but we agree on this one, Dan. It's the same as the Arsenal syndrome of, well, we battered Arsenal. No, we didn't. Arsenal let us have the ball, right? And said, break us down. Couldn't break them down. This is what happened with Newcastle yesterday. Newcastle was so happy to sit and counter. And there were 4 or 5 occasions in that second half where we lose the ball and they countered 6 on 4. They should have scored more in the second half. If you actually look at what we did, yes, a lot of possession. Yes, I know people have been ill. If people have been ill, don't play them. If people have been ill and they're really ill, don't play them, right? But he did play them. He did play some of them. The team wasn't as bad as many people expected, right? But we created nothing, Ian. For a team you're saying that played well, and I said, Estelle, you were on the show with me before the game. I said we'd lose 2-1. I never thought it was going to be a hammering like most people did, right? So it's another game, though, we've come out of. The Chelsea game, the Liverpool game, that game. We keep coming out of games going, we're proud. We showed courage. We showed fight. What are we? Are we Southampton in the relegation zone going to big clubs and saying, hang on. Are we Southampton? Are we Ipswich? Are we going to games and going, do you know what? We battled hard today. We're Tottenham bloody Hotspur. And we're saying how proud we are after all these defeats. That's where the fan base is at.
The fan base
That's what we're
is
doing.
so
That's what
desperate.
we're doing.
Savva.
Hang on.
We're 5-1 down to Liverpool, and half the fan base is singing, "Oh, Ange'S Postecoglou."
So
I'd be shouting at him. Hang on,
Sam,
Ian.
are we
I'd be
talking
shouting at him. No, hang on. I'd be shouting at him, going, Ange, get some defenders on. Stop letting Salah, Diaz, and whoever run through us for fun. Be cheering his name.
You see, I'm talking about yesterday, and you're talking about the rest of the season. I'm just talking about
yesterday as well.
I just want to talk about yesterday. That's
Sure.
all I want to talk about, just in pure isolation.
Sure. So do you think we were good yesterday?
We looked at the lineup second half. I sat down. I've been having a chat with my pals. Came back. Dragison's gone. Spencer's been moved in. You look at that back. You look at the 6 players that are there. You've got Austin. Okay, Porro, Spence, Gray, Reguilon, Bergvall. And to me, with a team with those players, I thought they did well second half.
But what you've got to remember is second half, Ian.
You take all the players out. Now, hang on. You take Raya, you take Ben White, you take Gabriel, you take Saliba, you take Declan Rice out. It's a much, much weaker team.
Declan Rice has been injured recently.
They gave us the ball. They gave us the ball.
With Ange?
So the defenders didn't have that much to do. We had all the possession and did nothing with it as usual, Ian.
Ian, do you agree it was a fantastic performance, like Anne said yesterday?
I said before, I thought Ange's way over the top with fantastic. I thought it was a good battling performance. And I came out and I thought they've given 100%. They've not been good enough to get the equaliser. But they haven't just folded like they did against Liverpool and Chelsea. I thought they were better. They played better.
I don't think we deserve to lose.
You look at the players. Hang on, but Dan, you look at the level of the players that were out there against the first 11. You got several reserves out there, so the team is that much weaker.
Team squad players, the Spurs.
That's the point I'm making. The team is that much weaker. Forget about all this. We are Tottenham Hotspur. We've had an owner for 24 years that won't back the club and put a strong squad in.
Ian, in the summer, you're telling me
out of all of it.
But Ian, in the summer, you're one of the people telling me that with Bergvall and Gray, we're better off than we would have been with Basuma and with Højbjerg and Skip. So
I didn't like Højbjerg and Skip. I was delighted they went. Højbjerg was
That's
like
not
an
the point I'm
oil
making.
in the field.
That's not the point I'm making. But this was our point in the summer. People like me, Stell and Danny, this was our point in the summer. When we said, hang on, we've brought in 2 kids. People are going, you said we're stronger with those options. Yesterday, I want a Højbjerg. I don't want a Bergvall or Archie Gray. I want a Højbjerg. I want to skip in a game like yesterday. Now, before everyone loses their mind, that's not me saying I think they're good players or we should have kept them. But this is what our fans in the summer celebrated, Ian. You were one of them saying these are better options because I remember Danny, sorry, I'm using Danny again. Danny said
you're going to say what I was going to say. Go on.
So I remember Danny asking you a million times in. So you're telling me in a big game, 20 minutes to go, who do you want in your midfield? Do you want it to be Archie Gray, Bergvall or Højbjerg? And we're going, you're going, those 2. Right. So when these players play now, all of a sudden it's, well, we've got the reserves out. Hang on. That wasn't what people were saying. Right. First and foremost, right. Pedro Porro is a first-team player. Radu Dragusin is a Romanian international centre-half who is our third-choice centre-back. Right. Third of all, Jed Spence, people have been waxing lyrical about Jed Spence. And Archie Gray, you lot cream your pants over him. So when you look at that back 4, right, everyone's been praising these players, but then when they play, it's, they're weaker.
Okay. Now let's look at it realistically, Sav. Now let's look at it realistically. Gray's out position. Gray's out position. Dragison's ill. Spencer's hardly played. And you're ignoring all of this. You're ignoring it.
I'm not ignoring all of it.
You just have. You've just said something completely different.
Ian, like Stell said, I'm not ignoring it. If Dragusin and Gray have been ill, protect them. Don't make them bring the ball out, play a high line. Don't make them pass out the back.
That's a different story. That's a different story. That's tactics. I'm not talking about the tactics. I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. You said you thought we played well. I thought we didn't because we didn't do any of the things like Stell said. He didn't adapt.
I thought we played better than we have it in recent weeks with the players we had. With the players we had, which it was a weaker team. Listen, it's going to be weaker when you take out all these players. I'm sorry, you take out.
What were we better at?
What were we better? I think there was more fights. Apart from maybe 15 minutes when Newcastle were all over us.
A lot of hard work.
They were all over us for more than 15 minutes. Let's be brutally honest here.
I must tell you something. It was very
first
interesting.
Half, they was all over us.
Very interesting. I wish my pals from Newcastle were here and I wish you could hear what they were saying.
I don't care what your pals from Newcastle
said.
I watch the game.
They see them every week. They see them every week. They thought they were open at the back in the first half, particularly.
Sure.
Second half, they were better. Mm-hmm. Right, I mean, you look at the times we were breaking through, and they just pulled us down. First 20 minutes, they were saying, "How sends them out to intimidate and to be very, very physical? They're much more physical than we are as a team." And they were just piling into us. They were just taking us out left, right, and centre. There could have been 4 or 5 yellow cards in the first.
It's another tactic you use against Spurs because Spurs are so weak. And if
this
your mates are saying they weren't impressed with how Newcastle played and they still dominated us in that first half, that just about says everything.
I'm asking though, what did we do when we're saying we played better and Ange'S calling us fantastic and we're saying we deserved point? I think we're lucky to go in half time 2-1.
We were.
Goals were coming.
We were. They were better. They were much better than us first half. I thought second half we were better. Yes, they sat back. They killed the game.
Better at what? I don't think we were better at anything second. What were we better at second half? You mean we had more possession?
I thought okay, but there was a fight about the team. They didn't just fall apart. There was the tackling was better at the back. I just thought when Newcastle attacked, we were tighter, we were better. Players were playing a fraction deeper.
Ian, where was the cutting edge yesterday?
That's been the problem all season, Dan. We have one of the worst front threes.
Yeah, but Ian,
in the Premier
League. Can I just finish this bit? You're just making Ange right, basically, in everything he does. You are making him right. Yes, you are. I'll give you the reason. Let me give you the reason. Why? But we came out and we had a bit of fight in the second half. We had the ball more in the second half. We passed it more than them in the second half. Yeah, it was a respectable game. Bollocks, was it? They took us to pieces in the first half. And then second half just sat. they was all over us first half, and then second half they didn't even get out of second gear anyway in the first half. Even their fans, you're saying they played crap, and they still pretty much could have done more to us in the first half. Second half, they basically just sat back, had a very poor game by their standards, but still sat back and took in everything we had, and we still made nothing of it. You're basically making it right of what Ange does when the fans now turn around and say, yeah, but we was better in the second half. We still done nothing and created nothing.
Dan, we had a depleted team. And I didn't expect anything more from a depleted team against a strong Newcastle team.
How many more excuses do you want to make?
Why are we expecting Spurs to get a better result?
Did we have a depleted attack?
Sorry, why are we expecting a better result?
But Ian, it's not about expected result. But I'm sorry, but when I hear the injuries excuse, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Because as far as I'm concerned, Eddie Howe has had injuries and he used young players and he used them better last season.
He had one missing yesterday. He had
but he had it last season. He had it last season though. Everyone gets injuries.
Nick Pope was injured as well. Those two.
Yeah, and I'm fed up with this injuries excuse because it is excuses. Because I'm sorry, a Pochettino would have prepared. Right, this is why I'm saying a better coach would be prepared for it. This is on him. I'm sorry, and the club should have known this already with the amount of gut fixtures we have got. And I'm sorry, Ian, the people that are going to back and saying that we got injuries, well, it's only going to get worse because that fixture list is only going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse because the fixture list is carrying on into February. Okay. I'm sorry, we're forgetting. We're saying we've got a chance in Europe. Well, I'm sorry, we've got no chance in Europe when we're playing the way that we're playing the fast keep them kamikaze football we're playing at the moment, and that's why we're getting injuries. Ian.
What did we do against Palace when we basically had a full team against Ipswich and the other games and that when they'd never even bloody won a game? We had a full team and we still got done there.
Newcastle, Arsenal, yeah.
Come on, Ian, listen, where's your excuses now?
First half, Leicester, they should have been 4-5 up.
Should have, could have, would have.
Again,
no cutting edge, but that's
chances. This is the thing. We keep saying this. So we should be 4-5-1 up. Their keeper had nothing to do. I think Solanke had a couple of headers straight at the Leicester keeper. I think what we're confusing, this again is the school of what Dan E is saying. This is the school of Spurs fans think if we have all of the football in the other team's half, that is battering them. Battering a team for me is, I want to see the keeper making save after save. I want to see last-ditch tackles. I want to see the ball cleared off the line.
You're changing the subject again.
No, I'm not.
You're changing the subject. I'm purely making a comment about yesterday's game, but I didn't expect anything. No, right. I'm talking about Newcastle. I didn't expect anything. The team was depleted. It was ravaged with a virus as well. And I thought, considering putting all things into consideration, I'm not talking about the tactics. You know what I think of the tactics, and you know what I think of the manager, and you know what I think of the training and why we get the injuries. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that when I look at the team that we had out yesterday against a very strong Newcastle side, I came out of there, unlike most other games, and I thought, do you know what? They gave it a good go.
Only because we didn't lose 6-1
No.
So you're happy with the defeat that we got.
We've only been hammered once in terms of, which was the 6-3. All the other games we've lost by 1 goal.
Yeah, but Chelsea was a hammering. Let's make no bones about it. Chelsea was a hammering by all but numbers, right? Ian, right. I'm going to say to you, you're saying it was a depleted side, right? Now, bearing in mind,
would you not agree with that? Would you not agree with that?
Hang on. Let me get my point out. You're here, right? Bearing in mind, yesterday in the second half, and by the way, the second half yesterday was 55 minutes long, right? So it wasn't 45. So for 55 minutes, Spurs had 69% possession in the game, right? Newcastle happy, sat in, yeah, and they were just happy to counterattack. So this whole thing about depleted, we were depleted at the back, which is where the ball wasn't for most of the time. If you look at that, the last 40 minutes of that 55, right? The last 40 minutes, Tottenham ended the game with a midfield of Yves Bissouma, right? A midfield of Yves Bissouma, James Maddison, Johnson, Kulusevski, Son, and Solanke up front, which some people might argue is our best front six. Some people might argue that, right? Obviously, you could talk about Bentancur, right? So going forward for 40 minutes yesterday, in a game where we had 69% of the ball in the second half, those 6 first-team players were our forward 6 players, right?
2 of which were left on the bench because they were ill during the week.
But so ill that they came on for half. They couldn't have been that ill that they came on for half an hour, and he took off Bergvall, who wasn't ill, and Sarr, who wasn't ill. If they were that ill, Ian, Sarr and Bergvall play 90 minutes. If they were that ill, why would you risk them? Right?
You see, You see, Sam, I can knock them for lots of different things that I have, but if I see a depleted team that are giving 100%, then I will come away and I say they've given their best. They're not good enough. Newcastle won. They controlled it and they won. But my point is
7 of the 11 that ended the game weren't depleted. 7 of the 11 that ended the game where we had all the football was our best 7 of our best 11. This is so I'm asking. We're talking about fight and this, sure, but 7 of those players were our first 11 players. So why didn't we create anything? Why, it's all right to say we lost, but that second half, why didn't we do more?
You've got to ask the players that. I don't know.
Can I say one thing, guys? Good night.
Cheers, Dan. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Take
Thank
care.
you, mate.
Pick up, Dan. Do you know what we've become? We've become Luton Town. Great to watch last season. Loads of attacking play and lost every game. And all you ever heard fans say is, I fucking love watching Luton. Do you know what? They really try their best. They got relegated. We've basically got to a point now as a fan base, but what we're saying is we tried well, we gave it our best, we went for it. I get what Ian's saying, because I do agree that in the second half, we tried our best and it wasn't good enough because Johnson is not good. The way fans were saying, Johnson again, ole, ole. Really? Solanke is overhyped. Werner's awful. Maddison came on, did nothing. Son came on, did nothing. So what you've got are a group of players that the fan base is completely overhyped because Spurs never sign bad players. They're only bad when we sell them. So when we signed Chicken Royale, we got him from Barca. As soon as he left, he's rubbish. And believe you me, one day Johnson will leave and we'll say, yeah, he wasn't very good, was he? But whilst he's here, Johnson again, ole, ole, brilliant player. We are Luton Town, the team that everyone loves watching, the team that just gung-ho attack, doesn't give a shit about defending, doesn't coach defending, it's so disorganised at the back, never changes it, and therefore will never, ever get the points that they should get from games. We are a rich man's Luton Town right now. And I don't disagree with Ian. I think the second half, we put a valiant effort in, but created nothing with it, because the players aren't that good and Ange'S tactics aren't that great.
Still, let me ask you a question.
But we are Luton Town now. We are the Luton Town of North London.
Let me ask you a question, Still. Nowhere on this Friday, throughout this sweeping illness, which was so bad that most of them played anyway. This is what I mean. Like, for me, I don't know if it was you I was talking to off screen or maybe someone else still, but on the Friday where we were saying, might not be you, sorry if it's not, we were saying, we all know it's not going to be as bad as we thought. We all know most of those players will play some part tomorrow, half an hour, whatever it may be, right? For me, Will Lankshire's name was not mentioned in the illness at all, right? Spurs made 4 substitutions, and in a game where we had 10 minutes injury time, this manager didn't even throw on our sub-striker yet again. So when people are telling me he's doing what he can and we were unlucky, throw the kitchen sink. Unlucky is, you know what? Spence, come off for the last 15 minutes. You know what? Lankshire, go up top with Solanke. Guys, scrap our way of playing. Let's hit some long diagonals. Let's get some bodies. No, you don't do anything. And this sums it up. 19 wins in 48 would get any manager sacked. And I just want to go to some super chats because there's, and one that I wanted to, 2 that I wanted to talk about just really quickly as well. First of all, Ben Spurs, they say that isn't it natural when a team loses their best player they will see a drop-off. Just yes or no. Does everyone on the panel agree with that? Just a yes or no. It's natural.
Yes.
It depends on how the team adapts to the situation.
Correct. Right. Alex, what do you think?
I think better managers can adapt. I've got to be honest. If they lose their best players, I think they can adapt and do better. I think.
Alex, look at how Arsenal's form dropped while Odegaard was injured earlier this season.
Well, I think that's why people would have that doubt about Arteta then, isn't it, really?
Yeah, but Ian, also look at how Arsenal drew with Everton when Odegaard was back, how they drew with Brighton when Odegaard was back, and how they lost the game a couple of weeks ago. So I think there's a bit of give and take there. Look, I would say with this, it depends on the quality of the player. Obviously, if you've got Gareth Bale in his prime, you're going to be weaker with him away because he's a worldie. But when you don't have worldies, I don't know. I don't think Spurs have
I don't
worldies.
think it's also... I think in 2024, and I think we've had this conversation before, I don't think players have got actually that much influence on it as much as what the managers have got now. I think it's more about a system. So for me, I think it is becoming more of an excuse now for these managers now, because I think there are players that are quite similar now. There's not really that many special players anymore to like actually make a huge difference. I think it's more on the managers and their tactics and the systems for me.
Alex, do you not think Harry Kane carried Spurs?
Yes, to a point, but I still think that was because the managers actually used the player to play through, use the player to get the best out of the player that with the team. That's why I think he was.
But Poch adapted without Kane to knock out Man City from the quarterfinal of the Champions League and knock out Ajax to get to the final. He found the way, so that's good management, right?
Right, but that's different to what I think Ben quite possibly is talking about. Kane is he inferring?
Yeah. This was the point I was getting to. Right, that's why I only asked for a yes or no answer.
Good managers are able to adapt, right, and change the way that and adapt without a great player, and that's what Ange can't do.
Guys,
so if you base it on what Ange of Harry Kane, like we've had the argument earlier. He never had Harry Kane, so sorry, like he should have been prepared for that.
What key players are actually missing, guys? Guys, what key players?
We're not missing any key players. I think it's just an excuse because for me, there weren't.
I think Van der Ven's a key player for our system, right?
Yeah, but let's be honest here. The Romero and Van der Ven. Well, Van der Ven has been having hamstring injuries anyway.
No, but my question is, Alex, who are we actually missing, right? Van der Ven, I can agree. Romero. All these fans that are moaning about injuries said drop Romero, he's been crap. Give Dragusin a start next to Van der Ven. So Dragusin's fit. So I don't think the Romero argument exists. So who are we actually
still, I still think Romero's a better player than Dragusin.
Not defensively. Not defensively.
This season he's been a bit wobbly.
If you want to start having that argument, Ian, I'm sorry, Davis has been our best defender.
Can I just quickly get to my point? Sorry. When I said just a yes or no, and then it descends into a 5 minutes. The reason I asked that is because, Ben, sometimes I agree with you, but when you look at Brighton lose their best players every year. Look how well they do, right? A little club called Bournemouth, who just lost their best striker in Dominic Solanke. They're better this year, right? Fulham lost. Who did they lose? Mitrovic 2 years ago. Paulinia 1 year ago, or this summer. These clubs are losing their Harry Kane. They're losing their top people, and they get on with it. And their fans don't talk about it every single week for 18 months. We lose Harry Kane 18 months ago. We're still bloody talking about him. Like, if we had Kane, we don't have Kane. Kane is not a Tottenham Hotspur footballer. Ange Postecoglou never, ever, ever had him. He had him for pre-season games against nobodies, right? He knew he was leaving, yeah? He still decided to play him in friendlies rather than build a new team. That's on Ange, again, for me. But anyway, Ben, thank you for your comment. Mark, I'll get some super chats after this one, but Mark said, attacking Ange, 116 goals in 58 games. Defensive Conte, 112 in 56 games. Same average, except we've conceded 27 more under Ange. Agreed. there is a myth that we are this magical attacking football team. We are a gung-ho, wide-open mess. Big up to you, Mark. Appreciate that. WNF Goals has said he'll be sacked after Woolwich. Nice run after. I don't think he will. I know we've had this. I don't think he will unless it's like a 5-0. And I don't think Arsenal do that to teams at the moment. I don't think they do that. I don't think they'll do that to us. Famous last words. I don't think they will, but thank you very much for your super chat. Daniel Levy has said, I apologize for sending Endless Eddie to your show. He said, Eddie, we spoke to Eddie after the show. All is good. It's just a bit of YouTube drama that I'm sure many people like watching.
Eddie's a good lad. He's a good lad.
Mr. Box Office Fan Club. You've got your own fan club, Alex. You have absolutely made it. Said, Ange, 64 points from 48 games. Iriola, 75 points from 75 points from 47 games. One has Spurs squad, other has Bournemouth squad, and one sold his best striker to Spurs. Yeah, it's amazing what a good coach does. It truly is. They are 9 points clear of Tottenham after 20 games. That is absolutely despicable. Look, guys, I don't want to go on forever. The last thing I'm going to do is get a prediction from everyone. I know it's difficult because we don't know what the team is going to be from a Liverpool perspective more than ours. But Liverpool, first leg, White Hart Lane, Wednesday night. Quick prediction from everyone before we end the show.
3-1 Liverpool.
That's the spirit, Ian. That's the spirit. 3-1 Liverpool. All right. Alex?
I'm mad thinking this, but I think it's going to be a 1-1. I don't know why. Don't know why. I just think somehow Liverpool are going to play a understrength team, I think, and I think we'll somehow get a goal. I even got a sneaky suspicion we might even sneak a 2-1 maybe. I've just got that sneaky suspicion.
Okay, so Alex has gone for 1-1. Lubo, the most negative one on the panel, has gone for 3-1 to Liverpool. Stel?
We're going to get absolutely battered. Liverpool have got Accrington Stanley at Anfield in the FA Cup the game after, so they will play a fully strength squad at White Hart Lane. We've got Tamworth Town, so we will play a fully strength squad as well. So you're going to have both teams fully strength playing on Wednesday night, be under no illusion. And because I believe Spurs will play a lot of the youngsters in the Tamworth game, as will Liverpool, especially because they're at Anfield. Ours might be a banana skin. At Anfield, Accrington Stanley are not going to beat Liverpool. So both teams will put their kids in the cup, which means both teams will go the FA Cup. So both teams will go strong in the Carabao Cup. And we're looking at maybe an Archie Gray-Spence centre-back partnership against Liverpool. I mean, we're getting an arse whipping. If Reggie has to start, we're getting an arse whipping. Maddison suspended, Sarr suspended, Bentancur comes back. It's another shit show, more disorganised rotation. I don't
Maddison suspended.
Yeah, and Sarr.
Sarr suspended as well.
Sarr and Maddison are missing, which means the midfield's going to be Basuma and Bentancur with Kulu.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be Johnson, Son, Solanke.
Or Werner.
Yeah, or Werner. And then it's going to be Jed Spence, or Porro, Dragoshin, Gray, and Spence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, depending if Dragusin's okay, then otherwise it'll be Spence and Gray at centre back with Reggie at left back. And the goalie, it could be the new goalie or it could be Forster. It could be either way. I think we're losing 3-1. Liverpool, we'll score because we always score, but Liverpool will have us, man. They'll have us on toast. 3-1 to Liverpool.
2 3-1s and a 1-1 so far.
If Liverpool rest players, if Liverpool rest players, then I think the draw that Alex predicted is a possibility. But they're playing Accrington Stanley, man. Why they don't need to rest players?
Who are they?
Yeah, I mean the logical step before I come to you, Dan, around the show. The logical step for Liverpool is, I mean, I'm saying strong team. Even when Liverpool make 5 or 6 changes, they're bringing in players like Harvey Elliott, Diogo Jota, Simicat. You know, they're bringing in Gomez. They're bringing in good footballers. But, Dan, 3-1, 3-1, 1-1. What are you going for?
4-2 Liverpool. They'll be 3-0 up, and then they'll sit back. We'll get 2, and then they'll just say, "Oh, sugar," and get the fourth. 4-2 Liverpool.
I love this. I love this.
We will clap the team off no matter what the score. That I promise. 5-1
Does
to Liverpool.
away goals count?
Or 2-1 to
No.
No away goals. Okay.
No.
No away goals. Okay. So the last question, just really quickly, because we are going to go. Somebody in the chat has asked, and I can't remember where it was. Apologies. Someone in the chat has asked, if we get spanked on Wednesday and the League Cup semi-final becomes out of reach, i.e., if we go to, we're not beating Liverpool at Liverpool by 3 goals, right? So if they win 2-0, if they win 4-2, 5-2, if it becomes out of reach, people are asking, does he leave? Does he get the sack?
No.
Jesus.
No.
Daniel Levy, do me this one thing. Please, Daniel.
Savva,
Then Mace is in charge. Mace is in charge after that because they ain't got nobody else to take it on. Unfortunately,
I told you if we go at the Carabao Cup, you still got the FA Cup and the Europa, so he's kind of safe. But if you then lose to Arsenal in the North London derby, and then you fell to beat Everton as well, that's another 6 points dropped. Now you are 15th, 16th in the league. You are in a relegation battle, and before you know it, on the 16th of February, Spurs Man United, it's the 6-point relegation derby. Levy's not going to allow that. United.
The other thing also, if you look at teams and managers who are in a relegation dogfight, you look at Everton, you think Sean Dyche, he knows how to get us out the shit. This manager won't know how to get us out of the shit. He ain't got a clue.
We'll just attack. I'm telling you, we're Luton Town. We are the Luton Town of North London. I'm not joking.
Do you remember when Blackpool came up?
Yeah.
Right? And everyone was like, oh my God, really, really proud of the way they play. They play proper football. They're going to go down swinging. And they started brilliantly, didn't they? Do you remember? They started really well. And then it started to get a hammering. And we nearly signed Charlie Adam. Do you remember? We nearly signed Charlie Adam, but we couldn't get the paperwork done in the transfer deadline days. And I remember that. No?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I remember that.
Ian makes a good point. God forbid
every now and then he does.
A relegation fight. Ange is probably the worst manager to have for that kind of a battle.
If he's like the Bielsa, it's definitely not good for us, isn't it? You know what I mean?
This is what I'm saying.
Bielsa got went down. Well, no, he got sacked, didn't he? Before, isn't it? But
do any of you think we're going to go and beat Arsenal at the Emirates? Realistically, does anyone here think?
No,
okay,
so
I don't think we'd beat Arsenal at the Emirates with Van der Ven, with Romero.
Right.
I think this Van der Ven Romero excuse is revisionism for people with them in our team. This was our worst start after 10 games to a Premier League season. People are conveniently forgetting that. With them in the team, we were losing lots of games. Without them, we are still losing lots of games. I don't know what has to happen for people to realise that this is a tactical issue, not just a player issue.
Sav, if you include Chelsea in Van der Ven's appearances, because he was on for, how long was he on for?
30 minutes. 30 minutes.
If you include that, Van der Ven, if you include that as an appearance, then out of 20 league games, Mickey's played 10, and we've got 13 points, and the other 10 we've got 11.
Ian? So 2 points. I mean, look, there's the break. I haven't done Romero's breakdown yet, but that's the breakdown for Mickey. I get it. Listen, I'm not saying with Van der Ven and Romero we're not better, right? But I do think that we're making out, not you, but I do feel that a lot of people are making out that with them we were sitting in the top 4, winning week in, week out, and people are just going, wait till they're back. And the last thing I'll say, because I know we need to go and Danny needs to go, the last thing I'll say is this. This exact time last season, we were sitting here saying the same thing. when Van der Ven and Romero come back. And then we went on to be terrible for the rest of the season. And I said it at the time. I'm saying it now. You could have Beckenbauer and Maldini at centre-half for Tottenham. It does not matter if you keep playing these tactics. No one will learn until those players come back. And listen, those players might come back and we might finish the season 8th or 9th. People will go, oh, we did well. We're proud. You can't do that every year. We can't do this. We can't say, oh, centre-back was missing for a few games, so we collapsed. Look, guys, my prediction, I think we're going to lose 2-1 on Wednesday night. However, I'd like to caveat that and say I want to see what Liverpool put out. For me, I think he'll go strong because this is his first chance to win a trophy. He realises Spurs are there for the taking and he's 3 games away from his first trophy. So I agree with Stel. I think it makes sense for him to go strong against Spurs and then rest against Accrington Stanley.
And Savva, we won't go 5 at the back in a defensive phase like Man United did tonight. So
he doesn't know that, mate. He does not know how to do it. He does not know. People go, he's stubborn. I'm at the point, I don't think he's stubborn. I genuinely don't think he's ever had to do anything different in his career.
I've read excerpts from his book. He's written 2 books, and he believes in his way.
Yep.
And that's the way he goes. And if they don't like it, they don't like it. He doesn't care. So,
Ian, I know for a fact there are coaches in the club who have said to him, would you consider maybe trying this, trying that? And he's not.
I've heard that as well, Stel. He's not interested.
No, he's not.
That's why I'm saying this is all on Ange.
He's not interested.
That's why I'm saying it's all on Ange.
I think, again, we are ending, but I think he's not interested because I don't think he knows how. Do you know what I mean? I think otherwise it's just pure stupidity, isn't it? If you know how.
Sav, it's arrogance. Because he's won it in 3 different countries, he seems to think that with the right players, if he gets the players he wants, he thinks he will make it happen. I genuinely think that. He is so focused in that way. He hasn't taken into account that he's stepped up several levels from the previous 3 leagues.
Yep.
I genuinely think that. I don't think he's interested in being a football disciple and actually studying the game and thinking, do you know what? There are other ways of setting teams up and playing football. I don't think he's in. I think he's so focused and so blinkered with his way of football that he will not change for anybody.
No, I agree.
He is that arrogant.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, look,
and our fans love it. Our fans absolutely love it.
I agree. I'm ending the show after this sentence, by the way. If I hear one more time, well, if he gets his players, I mean, every manager in the country at whatever level could use that argument, couldn't they? Every manager could. Like, if I'm the Charlton manager and the board call me in and say, well, we're going to say, well, look, if you just gave me boom, 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 I'm winning. Well, yeah, not everyone's got that luxury. So anyway, guys, much love. Thank you. Really enjoyed the show. How did I go? I'm finishing bang on 9:30, right? Good. Only overrun by an hour, which is improvement. Guys, please go over and subscribe to Stel at Tottenham Away. Subscribe to Mr. Box Office TV. And if you don't know, you better get to know. Please subscribe to Marlon, Spurs Kings TV. Please subscribe to the Danalist and subscribe to Dan E at the Hotspur Hood. He's just gone past 4K. Cheers. Let's get into his 5K ASAP. Please subscribe to me. I'll be back 10 a.m. tomorrow, where my guest on the morning show is none other than Perchy, and I will be live with Debate Savva tomorrow night. Let's see what drama unfolds. Take care, everyone. Ange out, Levy out, but come on, you Spurs.